Hello to the best community on the internet. I don't feel good. I'm gonna be real. I've been popping Tylenol and all, but I don't feel great. But we're still gonna make this happen, okay? Oh fuck! I'm gonna have to do some annoying shit here real quick. Loser that you're still doing this. Wait, doing what? What do you mean? Debating? I'm sorry. Look, I'm a why then what? I don't understand the question. Look, I've been sleeping. I've been sleeping for like 2 days. All right? You gotta stay on the grind. It's okay. It's not gonna kill me, you know? Hopefully. Okay, youtube.com/watch. I'm trying to like read my URL. I have to like manually type it in. I guess I don't have to do it this way. There's actually easier ways to do it. But I'm sick and lazy, so I'm overcomplicating things. Oh no, it still didn't work. If you're sick, why then? Because Look, I agreed to it. You know? I agreed to it a while ago. And I feel good enough to do it, I think. You know? It's not like it's not gonna be perfect. But like, whatever. It's not like I'm not gonna get it's not like I can like get anyone else sick through the screen or anything, you know? Okay. Messages should be working now. Let me post in the Discord as well. Debate with who on what. I think I'm talking about January 6th. It's that guy Balderson, if you remember. Balderson on his channel. Everyone, I'm dying. I probably shouldn't say that. I'm sick, but the show must go on. Come support this weak streamer. Huzzah! Huzzah! Huzzah, says Michelle. Good to see you, Michelle. I think it's gonna go great. Michelle says, sadly, debates aren't very useful. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it depends on what you mean. Yeah, entertaining. Yeah. That's look. It's a YouTube channel, you know. It's just gonna be explaining how words work with an illiterate. That's most debates. Good to see you, Asveron. All right, I think it's time.
For your resting balls. Sorry guys, just being a broke hater. I'll just say congratulations and welcome to Al Qaeda. Yo.
Nice. So that's friend of the show, Crack Amico. Ryan's here too, by the way. He just got in. Happy to bring up Radical Coder before. I don't know.
Bring up for the sound test.
Yeah.
Yep. For the sound test.
Well, testing. 1, 2, 3.
You sound fantastic, brother.
Will you be restreaming?
I actually sound terrible. I'm sick, so I can't.
You do
sound
sound like
your mic sounds great. How about that?
Good.
Ryan, will you be restreaming this to your channel tonight?
I am. I already am, in fact. So you guys are live right now. So
great. It's 8
o'clock. We haven't gone live yet, but we're about to.
Well, maybe not on your channel, but you're live on my channel right now.
Perfect. Okay. Well, it is 6, gentlemen. So if we're all ready, then, all right, let's do it. Thank you for being here, Ryan.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
You win.
Who are you guys?
We're you, dude. You're metal, dude. Dudes.
Deliberating.
Dude.
Deliberating. delivering dogfish. Delivering dogfish. I'm the dude. One minute, dude.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
You're a lying dogfish pony soldier. You said you were, but now you gotta be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you.
3, 2, 1, fight!
Who are you guys?
Who are you, dude?
Big ups to Andre 3000 for the flute on that intro.
Thank you, Andre.
Big ups to dudes.
We appreciate it. Well, we got a good one for you guys tonight. First, we got to thank everybody. We finally hit 5,000 subs. It's been a long haul since I lost the Odin's Alchemy channel, and they did not seem to want to let us bust 5,000, but here we are. So thank you, everybody, for that. We got an excellent show for you guys tonight. Steve and Mr. Marcus and Ryan are going to debate about the whether January 6th was insurrection and the implications of that. I am going to be moderating tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. We hope you guys really enjoy it, and thanks for watching us. Ryan, please introduce yourself and pimp out anything you want, including your channel and anything upcoming you got.
Yeah, Ryan, Radical Coder, progressive, radical left lunatic. I do a lot of debates, do a lot of political commentary. I also do a lot of coding stuff, especially like AI related things. A lot of like vibe coding sessions, especially vibe coding the news is a recurring segment that we have a lot of fun with. Creating like web apps that illustrate specific political concepts or ongoings in the world. And also I have a very cute wiener dog named Umbreon who is squealing around in my lap right now.
We do love dogs.
I appreciate the dogs. Beautiful.
We do love dogs. Despite the fact that you will always see cats swirling around me, there's also 6 dogs here. So,
Well, Ryan, do we have a first important question to ask, Ryan?
Well, I mean, if Ryan has an opening statement he would like to make,
yeah.
I'm all for
make an opening statement.
Yeah, all for hearing it, and would love to get kind of the crux of his argument. I know where I stand, so it would be, I think, hopefully helpful to everybody.
Sure. Yeah, I believe January 6th was an insurrection. I believe it aligns with the legal statutory definition. It's 18 USC 2383, I believe. And basically, it is outlined by being an assembly of multiple, like a group of people who is using intimidation or potential violence to interfere with a government procedure. Specifically in this case, it was the peaceful transfer of power. It was Mike Pence certifying the election, and it was preceded by Donald Trump sending a slate of 7 fake electors, people who were lying, saying that they were certified by different states, which they were not, and they were supposed to go, and the intention was for Mike Pence to say, oh, we just can't tell who the real electors are, which would have been a lie, which is why Mike Pence didn't do it, because he was more committed to the Constitution than he was to Donald Trump, which is why Donald Trump's supporters were chanting, hang Mike Pence, why Donald Trump was tweeting, Mike Pence failed us, and why despite the one time that Trump said peacefully and patriotically protest is outweighed obviously by the many times that he said fight like hell or you won't have a country anymore, and the fact that he had hours and hours and hours to do anything to help de-escalate tensions, and he sat in his office doing absolutely fucking nothing, like the pathetic loser that he is.
And that's it?
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to be a rough night for you.
We'll see.
Okay. As an opening statement, let me say that I was present on the ground for January 6th. I was there 4 days prior because I was organizing and hosting events around an entirely different area of concentration. We were talking about free speech. We were talking about Julian Assange. We were in DC specifically on the 2nd and 3rd of January, because that's when Julian Assange was in court and he was going to potentially receive a verdict. So that's why I was in Washington, D.C. in early January of 2021. We had booked all of this previously, had no idea that a Stop the Steal rally was going to take place. When we found out that January 6th was going to be an additional event centered around this, we were like, oh, I guess we're going to push that return flight home out a little bit because this is probably going to be a shit show. But my opponent, I guess, for this conversation, Ryan, is making all of the most debunked mainstream media lies in terms of his argument. Not only was it not an insurrection, we just recently had the Federal Bureau of Investigation come out and admit that instead of the 26 undercover agents that they had in place for this particular event, there were 275 undercover agents with the
they're hard to keep track of, Steve. They're hard to keep track of.
With the express intent to sow chaos and attempt to wrangle in random individuals into a criminal conspiracy that never actually happened. We have over 3,000 hours of video footage from multiple different people who were live streaming and the federal government itself that shows multiple agent after agent after agent coordinating, coercing, and making possible any intent of or criminal act during that entire time. This is the most easily debunked argument that you could ever put in front of me, and I am so very glad that we're doing it tonight, because there are few things in life that make me as, I guess, giddy as realigning the perception of somebody who is, I don't know, a ball hair or two away from Destiny's taint.
Okay, so what's the specific thing that you're saying has been debunked exactly?
Marcus. Also.
They're your claims, sir.
Yeah, which one was debunked? I didn't hear debunking there.
Wait for the back and forth. Wait for the back and forth. Don't cut Marcus out, guys.
So there's, the confusion on the specific date being January 6th. I wonder if that there is evidence that Ryan could provide going, to like January, maybe New Year's Eve, maybe January 1st, they started assembling upon DC, and by the 6th, it just swelled into a full insurrection. I was going to say epiphany. I get that confused with Annunciation. I know there's some religious fervor that may have happened on January 6th, but I guess the direct question I would ask Ryan, can an insurrection happen if it is provoked by federal agents themselves? So they are not acting on government, or they're paid by government, but now they're acting as citizens. How does this work?
Well, I'm curious where your evidence is exactly that there. I mean, my understanding is the 26 people who were originally reported to be there were 26 people who had at some point served as informants. That doesn't mean that they're undercover FBI agents. And I don't know about this 200 number. I believe that might be people who were deployed like during. This is something I've heard about recently. I haven't actually read that specific thing from Kash Patel, although I wouldn't trust him for shit. I mean, he's a guy who wrote a book rewriting the insurrection for children. Are you guys familiar with Kash Patel's book, The Plot Against the King? Well, yeah, your FBI director wrote a children's book rewriting January 6th. It's actually a trilogy of books. It's pretty disgusting, pretty deplorable, pretty traitorous. What
makes it disgusting, deplorable, and traitorous? Or
Well,
is
I mean,
that
it's-
just shit you're saying?
Well,
to
he's
try
grooming children into rewriting history. Like,
How
it's,
is he grooming
disgusting,
children?
right?
Like
Grooming
that's
them,
a very
it's
specific
political
statement.
grooming. He's politically grooming them to believe that
Is it a-
January
Is it a
6th
picture
was.
book?
Let
it is a
Ryan.
picture book. It also has a very catchy song. In
The whole
fact,
sentence.
yeah, it also has a very catchy song that goes along with it. Unfortunately, I did a short about it on my channel.
Okay, so what we have are Barnum statements that mean absolutely nothing, and then an allusion to a song that may or may not be catchy. But you
It's a banger.
haven't demonstrated any of this. You've just said it, and just saying
Well, neither of us
it
have demonstrated
doesn't
anything. We've
prove
just
it.
said stuff. Both of us have, right?
Well, okay, but the difference being, I have first person on the ground being their experience, and you don't.
What does that matter?
You would you dismiss eyewitness testimony just off the board?
You don't
Like,
think there's
where are
eyewitness
you
testimony
getting
that disagrees with your
hang on,
analysis?
Where are you getting your information about January 6th from?
I believe there's a lot of reports that came out from the DOJ regarding this, and I guess news reports about those and like media that
So the
analyze those
DOJ
things.
that you don't currently believe gave you the
Yeah, I don't
report
trust this
that you're
DOJ.
basing
Not
this
at least
on.
not fully. I mean, like if they put out like factual information that's like defended by
Bro, you've
like.
lost so hard already.
Okay, well, I mean, you can assert that, but like, I'm just saying, like, if the DOJ puts out stuff that's defensible, then I would believe it. If they put out stuff that is kind of shaky, then I'm going to be less
What
inclined to.
determines believable? Is it believable according to your own ideology, or is it believable according to provable fact?
Yeah, I guess the evidence, like what's the evidence they presented that there's like 275
Then you
undercover
failed to
agents who were
demonstrate
provoking. Well, you didn't demonstrate anything either, right?
I'm
You keep
about
accusing me of
to.
not demonstrating anything. Neither. Oh, we're both just talking
Yeah,
right now, right?
You're the one making the contention. It's up to me to disprove what your bullshit is.
No, you said you were
So
disproving
I'm
them. You
gonna
said you
do
were
that
debunking
as
them.
we delve further and further into bullshit.
Okay, so
by
what
all
are you
means-
saying? You said in your opening you debunked all the stuff that I brought up. So like, what's the specific claim that you've debunked?
We
what's one of
have declarative statements from the same agencies that you're citing
Mhm.
that upwards of 275 individuals worked for or were under the direction of federal authorities breaking shit, damaging shit, and trying to incite a riot. So please defend the FBI.
My understanding is that 274 figure is regarding people who were deployed after the riot was underway.
And where do you get that from?
DOJ.
Can you pull it up?
Yeah, here.
Pull it up. Let's take a look at it, because you're
throw it
going to
back.
have to explain to me how they were on site for it and did absolutely nothing until people started wilding out.
Do we have
And
names
then
and
you're going to
photographs
have
of
to
274
demonstrate
people?
how the FBI was hands off the entire time, even though the Proud Boys guy, the 3%er guy.
Yeah, the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, people who were convicted of
Yeah,
seditious
all of
conspiracy,
those guys
pled
have
guilty,
been outed
right?
as federal agents. All
They've
of
been
them.
outed as no, they
You're
haven't.
going to
That's
have
not
to
true.
demonstrate. This is the burden on you, my friend.
They've not been.
You're
No, you have
going
to demonstrate that.
demonstrate-
Demonstrate that they've been outed as federal agents.
Well, they have in court cases, and I will be happy to do that.
Okay, let's see
in
it. Yeah,
fact, what's his name from?
because my understanding is they weren't actually outed as FBI agents, but they.
snitch
Your
going back to
perspective
2012.
proofs. I must ask, Ryan, have you
Mm-hmm.
been to January 6th?
No, I wasn't there, but I do. I mean, I do know there were other people. I believe Dylan Burns, for example, is a podcaster who was there, and he certainly has a different perspective on the events than you do. So, I mean, I can't take one eyewitness testimony over another necessarily. I would have to look at broader evidence, and I've seen quite a lot of footage of people like beating the shit out of cops, talking about hanging Mike Pence, talking about how they are engaging in a revolution, and they're because they stole. they believed that Joe Biden stole the election. They believed the Democrats stole the election, and they were there to stop the steal. That was the whole thing. Like it's surprising to me that you claim to have not known that there was a stop the steal protest going on. I mean, Trump had been talking about this for months on Twitter and Truth Social, and that's very bizarre.
To be fair, Ryan, nobody here is a Republican. So,
I didn't say anything about Republicans.
But I'm saying Steve wasn't necessarily following their particular stuff. He's got his own things. Like he said, he was one of the leaders in the Free Assange movement, things like that. So he had his own niche he was paying attention to.
Yeah, I wasn't there because I thought all of the sudden American democracy had been usurped. That wasn't why I was there. I was there for an entirely different event. I just happened to be there during the same week, and I thought, oh, this is gonna be crazy. Let me change my flight. That's why I was there.
Okay, I also just posted an AP News article in the back that's regarding the 270.
Steve can bring those up. Ryan, I'm asking you, the purpose of the event of January 6th, according to your point of view, was to protest the peaceful transfer of power. So it was a peaceful protest of the peaceful transfer of power.
Well, it wasn't peaceful, right?
Well, when did it become unpeaceful?
Well, how was
probably when
it,
they started
how
attacking
was
the
it,
cops and breaking into the Capitol.
Wait, hang on. How was it not peaceful? Did
they were
the
beating up cops?
transfer of power-
They were beating the shit out of cops, and they were breaking into the Capitol building.
Did the transfer of power take place?
It was delayed.
By how long?
A couple hours.
And the couple of hours that it was delayed, it was politicians leaving a secure room for political expediency to promote
probably because they were scared, right?
Side of it. Do you think AOC was killed that day? Because she said she was.
That day?
She said she was.
She was scared for her life that day. I would believe her. I would have been if I was in her shoes. Yeah.
Let me go ahead and tell you about this real quick because this might blow your mind.
You know they broke down Nancy Pelosi's office door.
Do you know that Nancy Pelosi was not anywhere near her office?
That's not what I didn't say anything about where she was. I said they broke down her door. Do you think a congressperson should feel unsafe if someone's breaking down their office door?
This is very important to this conversation.
Can you answer that question though, and then we can do whatever the next thing is? Do you think it's reasonable? Real quick, please, but just for a sanity check, do you think it's reasonable for a congressperson to feel unsafe if there's someone at their office door breaking it down, even if they're not there at the moment?
I think it's reasonable for any individual to feel upset that they're.
I didn't say upset. Unsafe.
I think it's reasonable for any person to feel upset that what they regard as their property, even though it's not their property, is infringed when they are a half a mile away.
Yeah, but I don't think the concern right there was about her property. I don't think they're concerned. Hang on, please.
Has the right to be upset.
I feel like you're deflecting right now, but I'll wait. I'll wait.
Let me fucking finish, dude. I think everybody has the right to be upset that what is their property inside of a building that doesn't belong to them has been vandalized. I think that Nancy Pelosi is 100% in the right to say my office was vandalized and I am not okay with it. And the people who vandalized my office, who broke the law, should be punished for vandalizing my office. Nancy Pelosi was a half a mile away in the Rayburn building, which is way down the road from and on the other side of the street from the United States Capitol building, as were every single other individual member of Congress. They were in the Rayburn building or they were in the adjacent building. None of them were in the Capitol because that's not where the vote was taking place. This is something that is fundamentally missed by everybody on the left. None of those people were in the Capitol at all.
So
they
now we're
were
talking
either
about
in
separate.
the Rayburn building or the building adjacent, whose name I can't remember, but I've been in front of both. In fact, let me tell you a little story, Ryan. The day
Can I ask my question again? Because you didn't answer my question. Now you're going on to like a
I
whole nother.
did answer
You're telling me
your
a story now. Well, I don't feel like you
No,
did. Can
no,
I
no,
reiterate
no.
my question
I'm
and
telling
clarify
you
why
where
I
the
feel like I
members
wasn't
of
answered
Congress
before you
were.
go and tell me a story?
You're telling a story. I'm telling
not.
a fact.
Okay,
That's
okay. You
the
just said you're going to tell me a story, but okay, tell me your story.
What's the question, Ryan?
So the question was, he started going on about how people have the right to be upset about their private property or whatever, or property that doesn't technically belong to them when they
That's
weren't there.
not
I didn't say anything about that. I didn't bring up anything about that. What I asked specifically was, do you think it's reasonable for a congressperson to feel unsafe if there are people breaking down their door in the halls of
And
Congress?
I said yes, but that didn't happen. Not only did that not happen, the Congress critters weren't in the fucking building that you're claiming they were. So
What did not
you're
happen? Can you
wrong
clarify what
on
you're saying did not
every
happen?
You're
What I heard
you're
Steve say was
fundamentally wrong across the board.
separate building.
Yes, of course it sucks that people would break into your office. Yes, that's wrong. Yes, that's a bad thing. Nobody's denying that.
So
What you're
geographically
failing to
speaking-
incorporate is that the office that you're talking about was empty. It was empty because all of the people involved were a half a mile down the road on the other side of the street
Can we
in their
bring up a
own
map?
personal buildings.
Do we have a map of DC? And was the entire insurrection taking place all over the entire
Like,
District
this is
of
just
Columbia?
so
Or is
dumb,
this
dude.
just
I was there for this. I was on
Yeah,
the
you said
ground
that.
for this. I can't even believe that you brought me this fucking kid to fucking put this bullshit out. Like, fucking, can we get an adult? What the
I'm
fuck?
30. I'm
dude?
33 years old. I
Well,
mean,
the building that has
33.
Nancy Pelosi's office, that's the Capitol building. Does the Capitol building itself, as a person with its own rights and feelings, did anyone ask how the Capitol building felt that day on January 6th?
I'm sure the Capitol building was very upset. However, having stood on the back steps
I'm just gonna ask the
of it-
question again when you guys are done memeing. By the way,
Okay, so there's two vantage points when you're on the steps of the Capitol building. One of them faces the Supreme Court. That's where the scaffolding was. That's where you had patriots or whatever they want to fucking call themselves climbing and stuff like that. On the other side of the Capitol building, it faces the Washington Monument.
How much
was
real
on-
estate is that? Like acreage? A couple acres?
At least, man, it's a good chunk of real estate.
What
However you wanna
percentage of
take
the entire District of Columbia was under attack that day, Ryan?
Yeah, well,
wait,
it
you asking me
was-
what percentage? Is that what you said?
Percentage of the land mass of the District of Columbia. I know you're into coding and numbers. What percentage of the District of Columbia on January 6th?
I don't care.
was
That's not.
at
That
times-
has nothing to do with the question at hand. In
Well,
my opinion.
to me, it does. It matters to me. I want to know.
Okay,
what
well, I
percentage
don't
of
have
the
an opinion
District
on
of
that.
Columbia. You're the numbers guy. You're the coders guy.
I'm not a numbers guy. I'm a logic guy.
Okay, so then logically, use your code to tell me what percentage of the District of Columbia on January 6th was under attack.
I mean, I'm sure you could do the calculation. I can show you how to do that calculation. You would figure out the percentage of acres or whatever. I'm sorry. You would figure out the square
Was it
footage
over
of.
51%?
Hang on. I'll walk you. Like I said, I'll walk you through it. So you can figure out the square footage of the Capitol building and figure out where it was being attacked, and then you would divide that by the square footage of DC, and then you could figure out the percentage. That's how you would accomplish that.
Was the percentage under attack on January 6th a majority of the property of the District of Columbia?
Probably not. No, absolutely not. No, of course not.
So it was just a small isolated event.
Yeah, they were specifically going to the building where the certification of the election was being held, which is interesting because Steve keeps trying to allude to, all the people weren't there. Yes, you're right, they weren't there because they evacuated the building because people were storming it who wanted to stop them from certifying the election, which they succeeded in delaying, right? So they did stop them, at least temporarily, from certifying the election up until Trump tweeted about how special they were and that they should go home.
So I've got
which is interesting because
1
Trump
second.
tweeted.
I've got two articles in back.
Real quick. I want to make this point because it was removed from social.
Did you guys know
media.
he was there, by the way?
Trump did go, hey, fucking calm down very, very early into it. But we're not.
No, he didn't.
I think we're not talking about Trump. We're talking about the actual event. Ryan, I don't know where you really sit politically,
I'm on the left.
but in it, well, okay, that's unfortunate, but it would be unfortunate if you were on the right too. To me, demonstrably, we have several hundred years of evidence that left and right are propaganda measures in order to get people riled up about shit that doesn't matter, in order to make them give their consent to people that don't represent them, won't represent them, and can't represent them. I think the left-right paradigm is complete garbage.
Okay, relevance to the topic at hand.
Well, it does fit in because we're going to eventually talk about the FBI, and we're going to talk about what the FBI is as an entity and what it's done throughout its history. And we're
going to do a history lesson on the FBI instead of talking about the alleged insurrection on January 6th.
We're also going to talk about continuity of government. We're also going to talk about how government works in total. As opposed
if you don't mind, maybe we can schedule a future debate where we can talk about all those things. That might be interesting. But I feel like tonight we're specifically talking about the events of January 6th, the events leading up to it. There was, again, people who were charged and convicted for seditious conspiracy, people from the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers had a stockpile of weapons right across the river. There's all sorts of things that.
Let's bring up some of Ryan's evidence. He's got 2 links in the studio chat.
That's what I was trying to say, that Ryan's got 2 articles in back. One is from the oig.justice.gov. And in that one, it states, and now this is from December 12th, 2024. Steve did say that it's recently that these other things have come out. But this does say that 26 FBI agents were there on January 6th.
Wait, can you pull it up? Can you pull up and show me exactly where it says FBI agents?
3 of those agents were tasked by FBI field office to report on a specific domestic terrorism cases. And one of those 3 was entered the Capitol during the riot. That 23 additional FBI CHSs were in Washington, D.C. to attend the January 6th events, but were determined that CHS did so on their own initiative and were not tasked by FBI field offices to attend the events. 23 CHS, 3 CHSs entered the Capitol during the riot, and an additional 11 entered the restricted area around the Capitol. The remaining 9 who attended the events did not enter the Capitol or the restricted area or otherwise engage in illegal activity.
So just one point of clarification. Initially, when you were reading that or when you were describing it, you said agents. CHS doesn't mean agents. It's confidential. What is it exactly? It's where's the term? CHS, confidential human sources. So that means people who are basically informants, right? At some point.
Yeah. Which means you're an asset, not necessarily.
I was just reading it from Ryan. The specific verbiage is the OIG determined that 3 of those CHSs had been tasked by FBI field offices to report on specific domestic terrorism cases, subjects who were possibly attending the events of January 6th. One of these 3 CHSs entered the Capitol during the riot. The other 2 entered the restricted area around the Capitol.
Okay. So, let me at least set the scene, because again, Ryan, you weren't there. You don't know.
Irrelevant. A lot of people who were there disagree with your analysis, so I don't think that's really.
You only know what media told you, and you only know what mainstream media or mainstream alternative media told you,
and you only know what you individually saw, right?
That narrative, because it's the most convenient narrative for you to believe that matches with your ideology. But standing on the ground, and again, I'm coming from the perspective where I don't like Donald Trump. I don't like the Republican Party. I don't like the Democrats. I don't like the Democrat Party.
Hit or miss.
I think that they have proven themselves over and over and over to be the servants of oligarchy, and that everybody who claims the label politician is at the most a public relations liaison for legitimate power.
I'm curious. Can I ask one question about you being? How close did you go to the Capitol building during the event?
I was on the steps of the Capitol building, but I
Wow.
did not go inside. That's what I was trying to say. There's a view where you look at the Supreme Court on the one side. That's where the scaffolding was. There's a view where you look at the Washington Monument from the Capitol. I was on the side where you looked at the Washington Monument. I was on the steps. I did not go in.
Okay. So you wouldn't have
saw-
knowledge of what happened inside the Capitol then either, but you would have seen. We would have probably.
well,
Did you see
what
people
I
beating
have
up police officers?
What I have is all of the footage that has come out.
Yeah.
Hence,
Including
and
the footage
what-
of people beating police officers. I'm just asking if you saw that in person.
What? No, I didn't see a single individual strike an officer. I didn't see.
But you've seen that in the footage then, right?
I didn't see a single officer strike a civilian.
Okay, but you've seen the footage of people of both of those things happening, right?
Sure, of course, we all have. We also all saw the police officers dap each other up while one was wearing quote unquote Antifa gear and fucking walk away. I had the fucking
Antifa gear?
crazy ass, dumb as shit. I don't know. How would you describe Jake Angeli? A freaking wingnut. I had the Q Shaman on my show.
Okay.
He was on for 3+ hours. He told his entire story, start to finish, regardless of whether or not we wanted to hear it. And he told it.
I know that feeling.
Bro, it was an intense conversation. But what he ultimately said was, well, yeah, I played a part in a role, and we're all kind of playing a part in a role.
Okay.
This is something that you can look up, listen to, and verify. I'd be happy to supply the link for that. I can't find the timestamp for it off the top of my head. It's gonna be.
Yeah, I'll watch your podcast later. But like again,
Yeah.
like we're talking about the specifics of the event, right?
When we're talking about the specifics of the event, we can't overlook state involvement in the event. And that seems to be what you're trying to do.
Well, I'm sorry. Can you? I was reading something. Can you repeat what I'm trying to do?
You seem to be delineating or trying to remove state involvement of January 6th from the overall event. And yes, of course, windows got broken. People climbed into shit. There was a couple of
Assaulted
absolute
police officers, broke down Nancy
retards that
Pelosi's
did
door.
retard stuff. But were they
People had zip ties.
encouraged by? Hang on. Were they encouraged by state agents? Were they state agents? These are things that you're unwilling to ask, even though
No,
on
I'm
the
open to
left,
if you have evidence of them being agents, specifically the
Right.
people who were charged.
we have
Okay, I'm sorry.
evidence of it. They said there were
You haven't shared it, though, right? Just to be
275
clear, you haven't shared
fucking
that?
undercover officers.
You haven't shared
There.
specifics of people who were breaking in, people who were doing violence. You haven't shared evidence of those people. Were
Are
agents, right?
you completely retarded?
I might be,
How
but
do
I
you not
maybe
look
it's
at
because I just haven't
there
seen the
are
evidence, or maybe it's because I'm retarded. Like I don't know which one it is.
275 beds on the ground doing this, acting as agent provocateurs, acting as agents of fucking complete dissemination. How do you
According
not
to you.
I have a
look at
question.
that and
Okay,
go,
okay.
maybe
I'll step in.
the government had something to do with this? Like what is
Maybe they
your
did. I mean,
standpoint?
Ryan,
Trump
are
was
you
the
listening?
president, and he did have something to do with
Ryan,
it. So yeah, there is something to
Ryan.
that.
Joe
Ryan, do you hear
Biden
me, Ryan?
was the incoming president. The
Steve, let me ask
incoming
Ryan a direct
administration
Yeah, so he didn't have the authority
had
yet, right?
the security detail.
Ryan, do you hear me right now? Are you listening?
Yes, I do.
You're paying
Yes.
attention. So you hear
Yes,
what I'm
Alan.
saying? I'm asking you a direct question.
Okay, I'm
What
listening.
was the involvement of the state, the federal government, FBI, the CHS, whatever, the confidential human sources? What was the role of the state in the involvement on the ground on January 6th? What was their involvement?
I'm not sure.
Full answer?
I mean, do you have any evidence to present to me that like
Well,
shows that they were
talking
devious
about
or something? Or
confidential human sources, the CHS. I'm asking you directly what you believe to be the involvement of the state, the feds.
yeah, and I'm saying I
Well,
don't
if
have
if
an
it
opinion on
helps
it yet.
quick,
I could be.
Steve's
My opinion could be
article
swayed.
that
You,
he posted
for example,
is-
you could real quick. You like to answer the question. Like you could pull up something right now that would prove to me, presumably, if this evidence exists, that these people were the core individuals who were steering the crowd, who were trying to,
Before
who
this
were the ones
started the
engaging in violence.
stream,
You
what do
could
you
present
answer
this
the
information if it existed. I don't think that information exists, but you could present that in theory. Like it's logically
what
possible.
do you believe was the involvement of the state on that day?
I think the state forces wanted the certification of the election to happen primarily. That was probably the main goal.
So the continuity of government, the government that's in control, wanted the events to turn into an insurrection?
Wait. Well, Trump did. A lot of people around Trump didn't, but some people around him did. There's kind of a mixed bag there. Like obviously Mike Pence was his vice president, and he didn't agree with the plan, right? Obviously, because that's why they wanted to hang him.
And at what point
That's a very weird
did it become an
point.
insurrection? in
Because
your mind?
hang on. Let's go ahead and take this to its logical conclusion.
Okay, let's
Right?
do that.
in between, though, quickly, can I state that Steve's posted article states that 0 FBI agents had authorization to be involved in this incident, and up to 275 agents were there. This is from the Blaze. It says FBI told Congress that it had 275 plainclothes agents in the January 6th crowd. And so that was Steve's.
But okay, let's take this to its logical conclusion. And look, man, Ryan, I want to tell you, my hometown. I grew up in Anderson, Indiana. Okay,
That's awesome, dude.
Anderson, Indiana. After I left, elected Mike Pence, who carpetbagged his way into the area. After David McIntosh carpetbagged his way into the area. This is a region of Indiana that has been fundamentally unrepresented by the representatives that served it. Mike Pence was the district state senator or state representative from Indiana. He got that job by being, according to him, Rush Limbaugh on decaf. He was an AM radio host. Mike Pence was an absolute fucking milquetoast nothing. And he negotiated being a milquetoast nothing into the vice presidency. Mike Pence represents a danger, maybe, to a gopher on his property if he hired a kid to shoot it. Mike Pence is the most agreeable, spineless weasel on the freaking planet.
And yet he wasn't able to be persuaded by Trump's pressure on January 6th. Very curious.
True. So you're looking at power in terms of a red team, blue team thing. That doesn't exist.
No, I'm saying Trump
it
versus
doesn't
the people who
fucking
cared about the
exist.
Constitution. Like it's not red team, blue team because Mike Pence was not blue team. Mike Pence was a Republican.
You're looking at power as it's a Republican or Democrat thing. That is a fundamentally erroneous approach to viewing power. Power doesn't have a duopoly. Power owns the duopoly. Power makes you think that there are people within elements of government that don't like each other when all of those elements of government support the exact same things. I'll give you an example right now. Digital ID. This is something that the Biden administration pushed. It's something that the Trump administration is making a reality. Let's look at NAFTA. NAFTA was a George H.W. Bush program that didn't get put into play until Bill Clinton allowed for it. The Crime Act is something that George H.W. Bush and Ronald Reagan wanted, but the Democrats hated it because they thought that it unjustly targeted minorities. But as soon as Bill Clinton got into office, they were all for that. This is continuity of government. It's not red team, blue team, my friend. It's the state versus you, and you are getting fucked by the state every time they make a decision.
Okay, what does that have to do with anything we just talked about?
I'm trying to set the table. I know this is
now that the table's
difficult
set.
for. I know
Okay,
this
yeah.
is difficult.
I'm ready. I'm ready for my revelation. Okay, I'm ready. All right. I didn't get raptured the other day.
I understand that this is difficult for partisans to
You
comprehend.
missed the rapture too.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
But
We lost a lot of good people, though, for sure.
Where January 6th is concerned, you have somebody who is a fall guy who will never see any accountability in Mike Pence. We could blame Mike Pence, really, like, I'm not gonna certify or research. I'm gonna do what the marketing says. Mike Pence is, to the left, a good guy in this situation. All Mike Pence did was tee up the eventuality of Donald Trump 2.0. Who's the president right now?
Israel?
Donald Trump is the president right now.
Okay. So we're clear that Donald Trump is currently.
I'm glad we got that sanity
occupying
check after all this.
The White House and the Oval Office. Yes.
Last time I checked, yeah, unfortunately.
Okay. No, I agree with you. I do 100%. I do not want Donald Trump there. I also didn't want day drunk whore Kamala Harris in there too. I think that she was the worst representation of liberalism on the face of the earth. I don't hate the liberals. I don't understand a lot of what they do. I don't hate the Republicans. I just don't understand a lot of what they do. That's not my argument. I don't have a partisan argument with you. I have a holy fuck, take a big step back and look at this as an operation that moves society from one place to another place position.
So can I ask?
Okay.
The part of the event that hasn't been discussed at all was the trigger point. How do each of you feel about and obviously we have the advantage of hindsight, the 20 million odd votes that are above and beyond any other election cycle. And what are your views on that?
Sure. I mean, Trump was a remarkably unpopular president. He still is. So it's not surprising that Joe Biden got a massive turnout.
How then did Trump receive a massive amount of votes prior to and ensuing from that particular election?
I mean, he was also massively popular among his base.
Was the Democrat candidate just so horrible in 2016?
Well, I mean, Hillary won the popular vote in 2016. Isn't that kind of sad?
Then,
like literally, like one of the most unpopular politicians in U.S. history, got more votes than Donald Trump did. Isn't that kind of funny? Just aside, I guess.
Okay. Have you ever taken a look back through, I don't know, I guess the internet, or maybe even if you went to a library, microfilm or microfiche, have you ever looked up who is contesting an election?
Can you elaborate?
I'm just asking.
It feels like a lot of people have contested elections, right?
Have you?
Like all
Why
throughout
do you
history.
think that is?
because a lot of people don't feel like that. For number one, there's a lot of conspiracy people, and there's a lot of people who are unsure about certain.
Do you think there were conspiracy people in 1824?
I think there's always been people who had conspiracy theories, sure, but there also could have been like shady things going on as well. I'm not saying there wasn't.
Because to the best of my determination, and I've looked.
Do you recognize that we're talking about stuff from 200 years ago when this event, the event we came here to discuss tonight, is January 6, 2021?
Fuck up and let me talk.
Yes, sir. I apologize.
What I'm trying to do is build a case. Everywhere throughout history, you find mass amounts of people going, this isn't legitimate. This election is rigged. And every time you have one, there's a mass contingent of people going, no, dude, we got robbed. Well, it's consistent because it's a fraud. Elections are a consent ritual for fucking pedophiles, and anybody who looks at it differently is trying to sell
TOS
you
words, Steve. TOS words, please, sir.
PDF files. We're beyond the 15 minutes. I think
My
I can say
preferred
that.
term is Adobe.
But you can cuss now. You still can't use TOS.
We don't say PDF. We say
PDF
Adobe
files. I apologize.
Adobe
Whatever,
Acrobat is my preferred
whatever the
term.
deep state wants me to say in order to keep us on the air. I'm sorry, internet overlords. I described what you do.
Oh my God! For
as an
fuck's sake, can we
accurate
talk about January 6th? Oh my God!
I think we're
Sure.
talking about the continuity of government.
talk
and
about
going
January
back to-
6th.
From 1824 to, what was it?
I just want you to understand that this is all orchestrated theater that you have no consent for, that you would never give consent for, that you don't have any representation for. These are actors doing a job, and their job is to fuck you.
Okay, I'll take that into
Okay.
consideration.
Can I get the other two gentlemen's opinion on the 20 million vote variance?
So Benjamin asked about the insurrection and the trigger point leading up to the event. So clearly there's a lot of anger building up. Was this event a steam release valve? And then once the steam release valve was let off, people are like, okay, I don't care who's president anymore. Just get on with it. And if that means someone had to go and kick down Nancy Pelosi's door in Vilma, and then people are like, okay, you kicked down the door. Okay, whoever's president, whatever, we're going to go back to drinking beer and fishing and shooting animals.
I mean, do you think that if Nancy Pelosi had been in her office, they still would have broken down the door or not?
I'm not talking hypotheticals. I'm asking about the
Yeah,
pressure.
but I mean,
release.
can you engage with a hypothetical?
No.
Do you have like any thoughts about? You don't have no feelings about it. You just don't. You have no opinion. That's fair enough. You don't. But
I don't have feelings about hypotheticals.
Okay.
I
My
want
feeling
to
is that they
look at
still
what
would have
actually
broken down the door if she was in there. In fact, they might have been more likely to do it.
I don't pretend to understand the thoughts of other people. I know there's a lot of people together in a mob. They all got real excited. They got angry. They kicked on some doors. Maybe they do that in parties. Like they trash hotel rooms.
What were they so excited about specifically?
Does the hotel room have feelings? Because they had a kick-ass concert and fans, and they had pussy and groupies, and they.
No, I
they
mean on
destroyed the
January
hotel
6th.
room.
What were they so excited about on January 6th?
Well,
People showed up. They were already there. Steve,
Why did they show up? What did they show up for?
I walked a mile and a half with people on the streets of Washington, D.C. And in a journalistic capacity, I asked them why they were there and what they were mad about and what they wanted to address. And to a person, whether they were really, really, really hefty Latinos from California, or whether they were from the Midwest and white, or whether they were from the Deep South and black, every single person that I asked, why are you here? They said, we don't believe that the election process was legitimate. So we're exercising our constitutional right to assemble in protest of what we perceive to be an illegitimate election. So
why did they perceive it to be an illegitimate election?
What's that?
Why did they perceive it to be an illegitimate election?
Because we have 30, 60, 80, 120, 150,
Dismissed court
200
cases?
years of
Oh.
illegitimate elections. That's why. Because
So how come this doesn't
everybody
happen every
knows-
election then?
So you think that this
Yes,
is because of a
it
string
happens
of
every
illegitimate
election.
elections?
January
Right,
6th is
hang
not.
on,
No,
hang
no,
on,
no.
Ben.
People don't
Hang
storm
on,
the
Ben.
Capitol every
Hang on,
election.
Ben.
No, you're lying. Or you're just
Ben.
like very misguided.
Ryan,
January 6th
what
is a very
happened in
unique event in American history, dude.
Hang on, dude. Talk to me, Ryan. Talk to me about the 2016
Hello.
Democratic Party election. Talk to me about Bernie
Yes.
Sanders.
When did Democrats
and
storm the Capitol on January 6th,
Yeah, was it-
2017?
no,
When
no,
did they
no,
do that?
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about
Okay, because they didn't do that, right? That's what I was talking about. Maybe you're talking about something different. I came here to talk about January 6th, the insurrection on January 20 and January 6th, 2021. But
So tell me if you think the Democratic primary election in 2016 was free, fair, and legitimate.
yeah, I'd say so. Ultimately, yeah. I mean, I
How?
liked Bernie.
When
I liked Bernie as
even
well.
the people
I liked Bernie as well, but
involved in
he didn't have the
said we
support that people
rigged it.
pretend he did.
When even Elizabeth Warren and a number of high-profile Democrats said we rigged it, how could you possibly say that 2016 primary was legitimate? This is what pushed a lot of people from the Bernie left into MAGA. I don't agree with it, but it happened. It's a real thing. You can't deny it. So tell me why it happened, and tell me what
He
your
might not be
grievance
aware
was.
of the. He might not be aware of the court case where some Bernie supporters, that a lot of his bigger donors put together a court case, and in that court case, it was found that the Democratic Party absolutely cheated in their primary.
Well,
but it
what
also
Bruce
stated,
What court
Spivak,
case
the
is that?
attorney
also
for the-
stated that
hang on,
they're
real
allowed
quick.
to do that.
What
That,
court
that
case is
they're a
that?
private corporation, that they can do what they want.
So it's not
What
cheating.
Bruce
then.
Spivak,
Right.
the attorney for the Democrats, said is there's no such thing as a Democrat. He said this in open court. Bruce Spivak, S-P-I-V-A,
Okay.
go look it up.
So there's no
Said
such thing as
in
a Democrat. What
open
does that
court-
even mean? I don't know. Like, what's the implication?
What he said, there's no such thing as a Democrat. We don't
Yeah, it's a
have
party.
to have a primary. We can. This is
They don't.
what
They
he
didn't.
said
Like they
in
didn't
op-
for Kamala.
This
Yeah,
is
they
an
don't have to.
exact
That's true.
quote. Shut the fuck up for a second. He
Yes, sir, I'm
said
sorry.
in court, we can pick our candidates in smoke-filled back rooms if we want to. The Democratic Party is a private corporation that doesn't have to represent the people who give it money. We don't have voters. We have donors, and we have an agenda. That was a court case, a case that almost made it to the Supreme Court. That's what the attorney for the Democrats said. You're not real. We don't have to do what you want. We can take your money. It's a laundering operation. We pick who we want. There's no such thing as a democratic process. That's what the Democrats argued in court, and the court ultimately agreed.
Wait, you just
And-
wait. I
yeah,
thought
you're
earlier
right.
you said there was no such thing as a Democrat. Now you're saying there's no such thing as a democratic process. That sounds like very different. things.
I'm
Or did you
giving
speak
you
one of
the
those?
arguments that the lawyer for the DNC gave. These aren't my arguments. I'm quoting directly from Bruce Spivak. Bruce, B-R-U-C-E,
post, like, whatever you're reading from then in the
Spivak,
back, maybe?
S-P-I-V-A. This is what
Can you just post
he
it?
said. I'm repeating it. So
Okay.
take issue with him if you have issue with what's
Can you just
being
show me
said.
because I don't believe a lot of the quotes you've made
Yes,
tonight. So can you just like
absolutely.
post a
I would
link?
be happy to do that.
Okay.
More than happy to
And
do
then
that.
and then after you do that, we can go back to talking about January
Holy
6th, right?
shit, dude. Are you really this dumb?
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry for talking over you so much.
No, dude. Are you really this dumb? Like, are you really this
I
fucking
am
naive?
exactly as dumb as I
Are you
appear.
really
Yeah.
this fucking far in the weeds that you don't know that you're being played by a uniparty? Are you really this fucking hell-bent on supporting
Just
people
start laying down
who
some
want
of
to
the
fucking
evidence
bomb
for it,
kids
Steve.
and fuck kids, and you don't care because you're gonna get a fucking, oh, maybe I'll make the MAGA crowd cry, dude? Who gives a fuck, dude?
I don't want to.
All
I don't
you're
want to make the
doing
MAGA
is
crowd
you're
cry. You don't know. You don't know who you're talking to. Like I literally I talk to MAGA people like almost 24 fucking 7 at this this point. Like my whole online career as a creator has been talking to right wingers for the past 5 fucking years.
Then you're talking to fucking idiots. I'm sorry, you're talking to idiots. Right wingers.
I agree with that sometimes, but I think the average person believes a lot of those things. That's why Trump got elected twice.
If you've chosen a team in team sport politics, you're a fucking loser.
Okay, I chose Democrats instead of the Republicans. Sorry.
Represent you. Show me how the Democrats have represented you.
I think the Democrats are better at following the laws and the Constitution and passing bipartisan legislation like Joe Biden did, including the infrastructure bill that he passed, the Inflation Reduction Act, the child tax credit was cool. A lot of good stuff, a lot of bipartisan stuff. Trump would never, because he he orders things through executive order instead of like going through the legislative process, which is a fundamentally different thing. And one of the reasons I like, please let me, I always let you finish, right?
Let him finish the sentence.
Yeah. So so Donald Trump does not do this. Republicans are supporting him not doing this. So there is a fundamental difference right now in the party's willingness to engage with the laws of the land. And I am concerned about that. So, and as far as that goes, I am partisan towards the Democrats who will follow those processes, which I believe are what makes our country a country.
You simple fuck. All right. Okay. Good sure. Point. No, I mean that's fine, but you can't actually demonstrate that. What did Joe Biden do? He took the reins from Donald Trump and he put the entire country on lockdown. Joe Biden took the continuity of government and said, if you don't take an experimental drug and shoot it into your veins, you are ineligible for employment. Joe Biden said, look, if you're on a particular side of a political conversation, you are now a domestic violent extremist. Donald Trump has taken what Joe Biden did and then amplified it, which is Joe Biden just took what Donald Trump did 4 years previously and amplified it. And Donald Trump took what Barack Obama did 8 years previously and amplified it. And Barack Obama took what George W. Bush did previously and amplified it. It's continuity of government from a position where left or right only matters to the complete fucking suckers who want to buy into that particular bullshit. But in the 21st century, Ryan, we have lost rights. We have lost all of our constitutional privileges. We have lost all of our abilities, or most of them, to freely assemble and talk against what we're doing right now, today, this morning, or I guess yesterday.
This guy just goes
Donald
on and
Trump
on and
is
on
talking
and on
about a
nothing related to
national
the fucking
digital
topic.
ID, which is one of the most anti-American things you could possibly put forward. Joe Biden talked about the exact same thing. These are people that are executing an agenda that has nothing to do with us and that we would never ask for.
So how does January 6th tie into the agenda?
Before we answers that, can I address a couple of things he said? Like the lockdowns, for example, started under Trump, ended under Biden.
Correct.
Yeah. So
yeah.
You said Joe Biden shut down the country. That's not true.
When it was Trump, I hated it when it was Biden.
Sure. And as far as the jabs or whatever, as we pretend to be all sensitive about that stuff, I believe that almost every federal position that was mandated to take that also had the opportunity to instead do regular testing. So they actually still had the authority to keep their job as long as they did regular testing, but there was still this outcry because people people,
That
especially
didn't
on the right,
happen.
like now really want to be victims. And I mean, as you mentioned, like domestic violent extremists, like Biden said once in a speech that MAGA was very radical, and then he clarified they're not even most of the Republican Party, and the Republicans have never let him live this down. But Trump literally just the other day declared Antifa, who I don't even know who is alleged to be Antifa. I know I myself identify as an anti-fascist personally. I don't like fascism. I strongly identify as an anti-fascist, and I am very concerned that I might qualify for this domestic terrorist organization just because I ideologically align with anti-fascism.
Was
First
January
time-
6th?
first time being on the red flag list.
What?
First time,
Right?
first time being on the red flag list.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Was January 6th in a fascist event?
Was it a fascist event? I mean, Donald Trump, I do think is a fascist, but that's
Okay, I would agree with you, but why do you think he's a fascist? What?
because he's an
what's your
authoritarian
criteria
ultranationalist
for that?
who rules through executive order instead of the legislative
That's
bodies.
Those are
Joe
unique
Biden did
qualities to Donald Trump.
Joe
Not
Biden
unique to Donald Trump, unique to fascism, authoritarian
Joe
ultranationalism.
Biden did that. Barack
specifically.
Obama did that.
I don't
Jimmy
think
Carter
I don't think
did
Obama
that.
or Biden were
I think Bill
authoritarian
Clinton did
ultranationalists. No, I don't think so.
No,
All of
he's
those
saying
people
that they
rule-
did rule through executive
Yeah.
orders, and
Not
actually
true.
to this day,
Yes,
day,
it is true.
the
Joe
most
Biden
executive
signed
order president
hundreds
is
of
Roosevelt,
executive
who everybody
orders.
loves. That guy
I don't think
wrote
that's true. I
over
think Trump has
5,000.
far exceeded him.
You
No,
are completely
not even
wrong.
close. Not even
And
How
close.
many
Look it
so
up.
far,
executive
Joe Biden
orders
deported
did
more people.
Roosevelt?
Joe Biden and Barack Obama deported more people than Donald Trump.
That has nothing to do with anything we just talked about.
And I'm just saying, in terms of fascism, fascism is nationalism, as you just said. So if fascism,
No, I didn't
is
say. I said ultra. I actually said authoritarian ultranationalism. It's not. I didn't just say nationalism. So don't strawman me.
Okay, so wouldn't
hey,
you
you're right about Franklin
assume
Roosevelt
that
issuing
wouldn't
3,721.
you
I didn't know that. Yeah.
deportation would be a part of that? Wouldn't you
Insane
assume that
number,
getting
right?
out the illegals
What?
would be
It
a
is an
part of
insane
that?
number. Yeah.
What is ultranationalism to you, if not making it a place where the nationals can prosper? Wouldn't deportation by default be a construct of that nationalism?
Number one, I don't think that the deportations actually help us. I don't think they make anything better for the
That's
American
not
citizens.
what I asked, dog.
Well,
Dude,
isn't it?
it's
Isn't
not.
it explicitly what you said that like wouldn't that help the Americans,
What I
the
said
national
was,
stock or
wouldn't
whatever?
deportation by default be a component of nationalism?
It could be. It would be. It would be a nationalistic inspired
What is more
thing.
national than
right?
getting rid of illegals?
Getting rid of birthright citizenship, which Trump also tried to do through executive order, which would have was a constitutional amendment that he instead of having a constitutional convention,
Which
he signed an
again,
executive
goes
order to
back
change.
to illegals, right? Isn't that a you don't get
He would be
birthright
changing the status of
citizenship
people who
without
otherwise would have been
somebody
legal to be illegal through
coming
that,
here
right?
and having a baby. So isn't getting rid of illegals part of nationalism? Because Joe Biden and Barack Obama on a scale deported way more people than Donald Trump has over his current 5 years. And again,
And to be fair, I'm critical of Obama for the expedited removals. Like I think that a lot of that there's like human rights abuses that probably happen there as well.
You
Sure.
have to accept it. You can't just give partisan talking points that fucking.
Wait, I do
fail
accept it. I
when
do
you're
accept I'm
held up
critical
for
of
life.
it. Yes, but I don't think there was an authoritarian
You're
ultranationalist
not
action
doing it
necessarily.
now, bro.
I mean, I am. I'm just not doing it by your standards, right?
Just say it.
Wait,
Yes,
say what?
Barack Obama deported more people.
I did. I agreed with you. Yeah, and I just said I'm critical of it. Yes, Obama deported more people, and I'm critical of the way he did it. I don't think it was a good way to deport people.
Than Donald Trump has in his term. So your problem isn't with the partisan. Your problem is with the action. And I could agree with you on that, but you're coming at it from a partisan lens, which is fake, gay, and stupid.
Okay. Well, number one, I am critical of Obama using the expedited removals, but he did do those expedited removals, which is a legal process, right? So I may not like that legal process, but that's a different thing than Donald Trump, who has done illegal deportations, as even the Supreme Court ruled, based on the deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. It was a 9-0 Supreme Court ruling that declared that Donald Trump's administration used a justification to remove him without due process that would have allowed them, if this stuck, to deport any American citizen or resident of the United States with no due process.
You're pulling out one example,
One extreme
Which I
example
agree
that happened a
with.
couple
By the
months
way.
ago. Yes, dude.
which I agree with.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't grant the state any authority. So anytime you bring up the state did this,
What do you mean
I'm going
granted
to
authority?
agree with you, brother. I am right there with you 100%. What I'm trying to do is to get you to understand that the state doesn't have a jersey. And
Okay.
you want to put on a fucking jersey. And you want
I
to
don't
be
care
like,
about a
I'm
jersey."
blue team because blue team does this. Blue team is shit.
I'm
So
a
is red
Democrat for pragmatic reasons, not because I like I'm a
You're a
sports fan
Democrat
and I love
because
them
you
like the
tie
Eagles
that
or whatever.
back to January 6th and what the possible effects of a government that doesn't care about red, blue, why they would be enacting the January 6th process.
Who's that question for?
Steve,
One more time, then.
I
thought
said,
you were
can you
asking
tie
it to
that
him.
back to January 6th and why an overseeing
happening
government
right
would
now?
push the activities that happened on January 6th without wanting to pick a side?
Well,
What would the
because
purpose of
for
this uniparty be?
That's a great point because the people there were clearly partisan,
for the
right?
last 70 years, there's been an extra governmental body called the United Nations that manifests itself in a number of different organizations, whether it's the World Economic Forum or the Bilderberg Group or Chatham House or anything like that, that actually dictates policy. We have let's go ahead and pick on the Republicans, and we'll make Ryan happy. Let's pick on the Republicans for a
Can we do it in terms of January 6th, please?
Sure, and I'm gonna get there, but I have to lay the groundwork.
I don't
to do
fucking believe you at this
it.
point.
I have to lay the groundwork to do it. In the late 90s, there was largely a Republican think tank called Project for a New American Century.
Bro
Are
said-
we all familiar with this? Ryan, are you familiar with Project
Please
for a New
educate
American
me and then tell me how we fast forwards 30 years to now.
Okay, so Project for a New American Century put out a document in the late 90s that said we need to shift the West, not just America, but the West, into a heavily surveilled, heavily monitored society, because there aren't enough people in government to control the population. So in order to get there, we would have to have, this is their words in the PNAC document, we would have to have a new Pearl Harbor, an event that would so systematically galvanize the population into towing the line for government. This came out in 1999. In 2001, we had an event where allegedly a handful of Saudi Arabians.
Bro, how the fuck is this
hijacked
turning into a
the-
9/11 truther debate? I just want to talk about January 6th. What is
Stop,
going on
stop,
right
shut
now?
the fuck up. Dude, you can look all of this
on.
up, you goddamn retard. Look
Okay,
up-
I'll look up 9/11 truther videos later. I came here to talk about January 6th,
No,
dude.
you're
Ryan.
just being dumb and you're just bloviating.
Ryan, you
Look
just had a
up
birthday.
Project
Do
for a New
politics
American Century.
before your birth matter to you, or you only
Yes, of course they. I'm not saying. I'm
did
not
all-
saying that
yeah,
things
of course.
outside the scope of this debate don't matter. I'm saying that I don't understand why everything that you guys are
Of
bringing up
course
is
you
not
don't,
like you guys don't want to talk about the
because
facts
you're
of the day.
opposing
That's what it seems like. To be clear, it seems like you guys don't want to talk about the events of January 6th, and you are absolutely obfuscating in
talk
every
about
way,
January
shape, or form, including talking about things 200 years ago, 30 years ago, 9/11 truthism now, instead of just talking about the things that actually happened on
If-
January
if
6th,
you
where
don't-
Donald Trump sent a
okay.
fucking mob to attack the Capitol to delay the election, which he successfully did, or delay the certification, which he successfully did.
It totally didn't fucking happen, and you're high as a fucking kite.
Okay, let's talk about
So-
that. If that didn't happen, let's talk about why you think that didn't happen.
Okay, so number one, what happened was
Back in
the
1970.
entirety of- on January 6th. No, I'm talking about 2000,
Respect your
2001.
elders,
You
Ryan. Respect your
fucking
elders.
midwit. Jesus Christ, dude, pay attention. I
I'll
don't
try.
fucking. If you don't understand what happened before, you can't understand things that are happening now. This is how the world works. I'm sorry that you can't just go lift weights in the background like you do when you're getting spanked on every other fucking debate show. I'm sorry, dude. You're present and in the moment. So understand what happened before affects what happens now. This is how everybody's experience works on an individual level, and it's how the world works on a global scale. If you don't have Project for a New American Century, and you don't have the Patriot Act, and you don't have the National Defense Authorization Act signed by Barack Obama in 2012, which allowed for mass propaganda on the airwaves with the amendment to or addendum to the Smith Modernization
Bro, why
Act,
don't you just make a video essay about all this? And
where we are.
why you doing it again? You're not talking about January 6th again. You keep moving away from the
Here's
topic.
why all of that shit matters, you simple fuck. If you don't have that, then January 6th looks to everybody like the complete and total fucking psyop that
Steve,
it was.
question for you.
I was on the ground for
I've heard,
that.
yeah.
I was
Someone told me that earlier.
standing there for that. You weren't. You're
Steve, question
giving
for
a
you.
fucking Douglas Murray, have you been argument for it. Motherfucker,
No,
I
I'm losing
was.
it. I'm
I
losing
been. I was there. So your
Did you guys know he was
whole
there?
argument is disingenuous because I witnessed it with my own eyes from a
Truth,
nonpartisan
Yikes.
perspective.
He was talking about me
Yes,
working out there
of
too.
Someone with a short
we have
attention span,
determined
Steve.
through litigation, through video footage, through
I'm
thousands of
losing it.
hours of video footage that there
I like the
were
stream, by the way. I like the
bad
stream, love the stream.
actors
The goal's
on the
gonna end.
ground during January 6th.
If you
Were
can't
the
score with your thumbs,
majority of
score
the
with your
people,
thumbs.
because there were, tens of thousands of them in DC. Did they storm the Capitol? Fuck no. Was there a single weapon brandished inside the Capitol? Fuck no. Was there a single politician taken
fireworks?
hostage? Fuck no. Was there a single official?
Yeah, there were like bats and
of
stuff.
government-
You mean there
Hang
weren't
on,
guns?
hang
Is
on,
that what you mean?
hang
Okay,
on.
sorry.
Was
Yeah.
there a single government official executed in the name of liberation? Fuck
Thankfully,
no.
no.
Who died? Who died on January 6th?
Ashley Babbitt and a couple
fucking
cops died
whatever
after.
the fuck her name was, and another bitch under a tunnel. 2 fucking women died. They were shot by the state.
Only one was shot.
Is that
Nobody
more or
else
less violence that
suffered
happens on
a
other days
goddamn
in
bullet
Washington,
wound.
DC?
Other
I
than
would say
the
so,
2
more.
people the state shot. How the fuck is that an insurrection?
So it was an insurrection because it was an assemblage of people who went to intimidate through violence or threat of violence to stop.
What violence? The only violence was done by the state, according to Reuters.
So the people
the
beating
only
cops
violence
were
that
state
was
operatives,
done
according to
in the
you?
fucking Capitol building
What-
was
what is
done
the
by the FBI.
differentiation- What is the differentiation then, Ryan, given your definition between your any day given riot and this insurrection?
I mean, there might be some riots that I would qualify as insurrections. If you gave me a specific one, I would kind of break it down and see like what their goals are, what they're trying to do, and like what specific laws they're trying to impede. Like it might even technically, I might even technically yield. Real quick, man, come on, you've talked so much. I might even technically yield that like some of the I might yield that like some of the impediments of ICE officials could technically qualify as insurrections, which is why I think it's also important to talk about whether or not things are a justified insurrection, right? Because if you believe that the election was stolen, right? If you believed that January 6th they were about to certify someone who stole the election, that Joe Biden had rigged this election against Donald Trump, then it might have been the right thing to do, like morally right thing to do. So these people, I believe, a lot of them actually thought they were morally in the right when they stormed the Capitol
Ryan,
that
do
day,
you
and that's
believe
because of the
this
things that
event
Donald
was
Trump said.
justified?
What?
Do you believe all the events that happened were justified?
No, I don't. Because I think Donald Trump lied to them.
What was justified and what was unjustified in your point of view on January 6th?
I believe it was unjustified for people to. Well, I believe. Okay, hang on. When we say justified, like what I'm saying is that in their minds they believed that the election was stolen. So they believe they were like many of them believed they were doing something morally correct because they thought that their country was being stolen from them. They really thought the democratic process had failed them in such a drastic way that somebody who had not won the election was being put into power. They genuinely believe that. The reason they believe that is because Donald J. Trump had told them that. Over and over and over, despite everybody around him telling him otherwise, he lied to them. They are victims of Donald Trump, and that's why they ended up being charged with these. Some of them probably knew, right? Some of them who organized this thing probably knew that Donald Trump was lying, and they wanted to support him.
But you don't actually know that, dude. I'm sitting there walking with these guys, and again, I don't.
Thank you, Nuxus, my one true supporter.
The red team is going to save us. I don't believe that the blue team is going to save us. But I was walking for 3/4 of a mile, maybe a mile, all the way to the ellipse at 10 o'clock in the morning with all of these people who were gathering. And in a journalistic capacity, I asked them, why are you here? What are you protesting? What do you think you're going to achieve by being here? Because I thought that they were relevant and pertinent questions. And I think that anybody would ask these people those questions. And what I heard to a person was, we're gathering to express our dissent, and we're constitutionally protected to say we have a grievance against our government. And that's across the board what they did.
I agree. They were
and
allowed to say that.
I'll tell you.
They didn't just do that, right?
Pardon?
They didn't just say that they were upset or whatever. They weren't just expressing their grievances. They were violently breaking into the Capitol.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
I'm holding my breath.
But again, we're at 10 o'clock in the morning. We're just walking up to the ellipse. We haven't even gotten to all of the federal agents and DC police that were around the Capitol that allowed for most of this shit to happen. In the morning, when it was like lame ass,
to drink beer when I'm sick,
day drunk Woodstock, it was a very different vibe. And my brother, when I tell you that it really was lame as fuck and totally boring, it was. There was not even a whisper of an air of violence 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Even when Trump was
it was like a power brawl that night. A couple people got angry, kicked a door down.
I was at the JW Marriott the night before that, dude. Everybody was chill as shit. The only people that were out of line were a couple of like local protesters that thought they were Black Bloc or something like that.
So while we have Ryan, let me ask a few more
questions. And people were like,
no,
dude, we don't want to fight. We really don't.
I'm trying to understand at this point the significance of the terminology needing to call it, according to dictionary definition and legal definitions, insurrection. What is the importance of calling the events? I'm asking Ryan directly right now.
Sure.
What is the significance of that word through legal definition of the word and applying it historically to this event? What is the reason that needs to be applied?
I think people have a lot of different reasons. There are things regarding like the Insurrection Act, I believe, that would have potentially prevented Trump from getting on the ballot, which is, I believe, what the Colorado Supreme Court ruled in support of. But I personally, I don't care about that.
The Colorado court overturned that, by the way.
Okay, that's fine. So the debate topic was whether or not it was an insurrection. I believe it was, so that's what I engaged with. That's the relevance for me here tonight. I think it was a bad thing, regardless of whether or not we call it an insurrection. We can call it whatever we want. There are people who like the infamous lady who was getting maced, or who got maced, and then she's like on camera saying, "We're storming the Capitol. It's a revolution." Like, I mean, if she thought it was a revolution, I don't know if it qualifies as a revolution either. But I mean, again, it was an event where a bunch of people tried to delay the peaceful transfer of power. Tried to stop the peaceful transfer of power. They succeeded in delaying the peaceful transfer of power, and they also did a lot of damage on the way.
So you think that the totality of that was due to Donald Trump's words and not a statistical anomaly in the number of people that had voted.
Yeah, primarily.
Like,
Yeah,
you give no credence to that. That is because that would be really what Steve's saying without saying it. That what he's stating is that most of the people that were there because they believe that there was fraud, and 20 million extra votes above and beyond what normally. Because if you look at a graph, sure, it's raised slightly every election cycle because we have a larger population, but never has there been a 20 million person jump. Mm-hmm. And so Steve is basically stating that that most of the people he has interacted with in that were there because they believe fraud had been committed. And mm-hmm. You're stating you think that the Trump's words were the thing that was the driving factor.
Yeah, so just to be clear, I believe that the fact that there was an influx in votes, which I think can be attributed to the 4 years we had of Donald Trump were some of the most politically activating that we've had in my lifetime, at least, especially in the era of social media. Like, Trump is an extremely provocative person. Everything he says is intentional.
Put that on the record. In your lifetime, you're talking about your perspective on the events. The isolated violence that happened on January 6th, did it continue into the 7th, into the 8th, to the 9th?
I don't believe so. Okay. Not directly.
So the violence was squashed. It was ended. There's no more violence.
Did it continue into the evening?
Well, those people have been arrested. I don't know when they got arrested exactly, but
because they say January 6th, so it's not January 6th, 7th, and 8th. It's January 6th, one day. That's
okay. I feel like we're changing the topic to what I was just answering a different question.
Yeah, now this is all relevant to the topic.
Staying on topic.
We have to take it into consideration.
Okay. Yes, it's still. I agree. It's closer to relevance to January 6th than the things earlier about like the 1800s and shit. But I believe
if you don't look at history on a timeline and you look at it as all pockets of isolated incidents, then you're going to get dragged by the nose through whatever narrative whoever you align with tells you to. But you have to take a big picture view of this. Was there violence on January 5th?
Not that I know of.
Was there violence on January 4th?
Maybe on Twitter, maybe online.
Well, the reason there was violence on January 6th in particular is because Donald Trump wanted people to protest, quote unquote, the peaceful transfer of power because he wanted Mike Pence to overturn the election because he sent 7 fake electors. Please let me talk. People who lied and said that the states had certified them. They were lying. The states did not certify them to be the electors, but Trump had them do that, and they went to the Capitol and they said that they were the electors, and the whole goal was to get Mike Pence to say, well, we just can't know. Maybe we need to delay. We need to figure things out. And Mike Pence refused to do that because he knew that it was illegal. He knew it was unconstitutional. He knew it was wrong. And so he decided not to do that. And then Trump said, Mike Pence failed us. And so that's why they went to the Capitol specifically, was to, quote unquote, protest Mike Pence doing that. But instead of just standing there and peacefully protest, they attacked cops, broke into the Capitol. And in fact, we now have evidence because of Enrique Tarrio and all these other people who had, hang on, I'm almost done. All these other people, the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, who have all these texts that came out. And you can read these in all the DOJ reports regarding this, where they explicitly planned out, like they're planning to go through the Capitol, right? To go to the chambers. Like they actually planned all this shit out. The Oath Keepers put a massive stockpile of weapons in a hotel room just across the river, about 15 minutes away or something. A 15-minute walk away.
Keepers and militia.
So maybe to bridge where some of the missing pieces of this conversation are happening, Steve.
It's a stress test.
Why don't you bring in some of like the evidences that you have more surrounding January 6th, such as the legislation that got passed to remodel that specific area of the building that got destroyed and things like that.
This is really weird. By the way, this is an anomaly that we reported on back in 2020 because we were looking at just the egregious abuse of taxpayer dollars that the Trump administration was engaged in. And I think that theft is theft no matter who's doing the stealing. And so Donald Trump as president in 2019 or 2020 heading into the inauguration
or so my understanding
signed off on. Do you remember Ryan, there were multiple different like COVID era packages, like little stimulus stuff like that packages.
Oh yeah, that money was really helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, I never got any, but I assume it
sorry.
was to the people that got some.
Yeah, I needed it at
and
the
I
time. It
hope
was awesome.
you know,
Thank you, Trump.
whether it's
Trump
Fish,
bucks
the
were awesome.
band who got like $2 million from PPP loans and shit. I don't know, whatever. If you got your grift, dude, go with God. I
mean, I got like
appreciate
the checks, like the $6,000 or whatever, like or whatever
Oh,
it was,
cool,
the
man.
stimulus money. Yeah,
Great.
I
I don't
PPP
accept
loan.
bribes. I don't accept.
I didn't. I
Okay,
didn't get
don't know,
any
it
of
just,
that.
it just kind of showed up. It was like a check I got. I was like, thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
Trump.
Hey, man.
I don't accept free money. I don't
Great.
know where it
Okay,
comes
that's
from.
fine.
Bribes.
That's very
Do
noble
you
of you.
remember-
I don't care.
Do you remember,
I'm glad
Ryan?
thinks I'm
Do
noble.
you remember it was maybe from October to December, there was a stimulus bill in Congress right before the insurrection that was being debated, and Trump initially said, no, we're not going to do it. Fuck you guys. I'm not giving you a dime. Do you remember that?
Vaguely, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, all of a sudden he crawfished and was like, "Oh, hey, I guess you're gonna get your $600."
That's
or
crazy
whatever.
because he's always usually so principled.
Well, he's a carnival barker, a reality TV star, a WWE Hall of Famer, and a complete pedophile rapist piece of shit. So we're not here to debate the
Hey!
merits of Donald Trump.
Dave,
Adobe
Holy
added
holy
that,
shit,
and
Dave.
McDonald's aficionado are
I'm
referred to.
sorry.
TOS, man. TOS.
I'm not used to being on YouTube. I'm not. Donald Trump is a terrible person, and he's always going to do terrible things. Nobody's debating that. What I'm talking about specifically is a stimulus act that was initially negated by Trump in October, maybe November. And it would have been his lame duck era. And then right before January 6th, I think it was somewhere between December 26th and December 30th. I don't have the exact date off the top of my head, but he reversed position and said, "Oh yeah, we'll sign off on that. Never mind, America. You got your $600. It's a beautiful stimulus. It's the most special stimulus you're ever gonna get." He did all that bullshit. What was buried in that was a significant amount
Sure
of
did want
money
and stuff, which is
for
pretty pog.
repair to damages incurred to the Capitol building and its property. 2 weeks before, or a week before January 6th happened, they wrote into the stimulus bill a significant amount of money to take care of rebuilding or replacing damages that had been done specifically, Ryan, to the Capitol and its property. Now, in and of itself, hey, man, buildings get old. You need to repair them. You need to do upkeep. You need to do maintenance. I would grant that immediately. I did remodel and new construction for 25 years. That's my background, is carpentry and shit like that.
That's fantastic.
I understand why you would want to allocate funds towards repair, rebuild, replace. I get that.
Called him
I
hard
do.
R2 polygraph.
It is very interesting to me that the
Nothing
amount of
was it.
millions of dollars,
Has
because
nothing
it
to
was
do with the topic. It
approaching
never
$200
does.
million that was given to specifically repairing and rebuilding the Capitol, got allocated days before a supposed insurrection. And I just, like, if I do anything, because I know I've been yelling and shit like that, I'm a passionate individual.
It's okay.
If I do anything, I want to impart that this isn't a red team, blue team thing. This is what government does regardless of who's in power thing. And I would like to encourage you to look at government as a uniparty as opposed to a false duopoly.
Yeah, and I'm not going to downplay the corrupt actions of Donald Trump just because other people have done bad things in different ways. Right now, I came here to talk about January 6th, which was an event specifically inspired by Trump's rhetoric and Trump's actions. I believe he incited it. I believe that he wanted people to storm the Capitol. I believe that he supported their actions that day, and I believe that's supported by his
His own
unwillingness.
actions belie that, though. So why would you say that?
His actions support what I just said.
No, they don't. Particularly his actions.
When they were storming the Capitol, Donald Trump, the one time he tweeted, like during, in fact, it was right around the time that Nancy Pelosi's door was broken down. He tweeted, "Stay peaceful," but he knew they weren't being peaceful at that moment. So what does that mean?
No, he told everybody to go home at like fucking 12:06. There are multiple instances of this where he's like, "Hey,
you're lying." Or you're wrong.
What? No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
He didn't tell them
dude.
to go home at
They
12:06.
took
That's
down
not
his
true.
fucking Twitter account. But no, dude.
Show me the tweet.
Trump specifically was like, "What the fuck are you doing? You retards, go away."
No, that's not true.
Yes.
No, you're wrong. I don't know if you believe this whole uniparty corruption thing. Like, why can't you? Why are you like sitting here
because
like drinking Trump
I know
cum?
what the narrative was. Fuck.
You don't even know the facts. You're lying about Trump's tweet.
Yes, I know I'm not lying about this.
His tweet wasn't until later in the day.
Give me the timestamp, and it's really
Steve
fucking
does an
hard to
AM
find
wake up
now
show,
because
reports the
Twitter
news.
is completely controlled by Donald Trump's ex-boyfriend.
Steve, do you have episodes where the
As far
Trump
as AI goes, I'm not this heavily into politics, so I don't have the memorization of Trump's tweets or anything. But as far as AI goes, it said yes, he did tweet this on January 6th. It does not give a timestamp on it, but it says that both the video and the tweet were later removed by Twitter, and the company suspended Trump's account for 12 hours.
Yes.
During that.
Yes, but this was like hours after the insurrection started.
Bro, I was there.
What does that? What was that? Were you checking Twitter the whole time? Like, or this? No. I was there. We heard you were there. We've told us like 20 times you were there. We know. He tweeted at 6:01 p.m.
So I can
Eastern.
give a first-person account to this that you can't. You can.
I'm sorry.
Give
417. 417. He posted the video according to Wikipedia.
Eastern time.
Yes. Yep. You have to go home now.
So
that's a very special one.
So Donald Trump told his followers go home, violence, and then the violence ended.
4 p.m. hours after they'd stormed the Capitol.
Ryan, the importance for you to declare that Donald Trump told his people to go and create an insurrection at that day. So all the responsibility.
Well, I didn't say those words exactly. You're kind of misrepresenting me. What I said was that he told them.
Can you show me a tweet where he said storm the Capitol? Can you show me a tweet where he said go commit violence? Like again, not a Trump fan.
Not necessarily, but there are definitely tweets of him saying about talking about plans for that protest.
What you're doing is insinuating without being able to back it up by fact.
No, we can absolutely back it up by facts because Donald Trump knew that he was lying. Like, it was very clear because all the people around him were telling him that like all the stuff he was saying wasn't true. Like everybody or every single person who had information about whether or not the facts that he was lying about were true. We're telling him they were lies. They were telling him that he shouldn't be saying those things, and he was saying them anyway because he didn't care and he just wanted to stay in power.
How did you feel January 6th and 7th and 8th? How did you feel after witnessing social media accounts telling you that this is violence, this is an insurrection, this is a terrible, not a peaceful transfer? How did you feel about that, and what were your feelings at that moment?
What I felt from watching the videos of people attacking cops and breaking into the Capitol was concern for the democratic process in my country. Yeah.
What you saw was FBI agents punching FBI agents.
Yeah, and you haven't substantiated that at all, even once. You just alleged that over and over. You have no evidence
right
of that.
Now. That's what the FBI is saying.
That's not what
you
they're
saw
saying.
was FBI agents punching FBI agents. And sure, look, I'll grant this. There were people
that were totally
lying
about that too.
We talked about confidential human
because
sources.
You get sheep following along. Of course, there were people on the ground that we're willing
informants
to
who
follow.
provide information to intelligence agencies such
Yes,
as
and
the
and
FBI.
you have some system that you have some way of mapping those individuals who you're saying who the DOJ said with DHS in December.
Well, what we have
Hang on. Let me ask the question. You have some way of mapping those 26 operatives, quote unquote operatives, people who were informants at some point.
275.
Please, those people, you have some way of mapping those to the
Well, you're
individuals that
lying.
we see in footage attacking cops. You have direct way to do that. Yes or no?
We have 270.
You can just say no. It's okay to say no. You can just say you don't know that that's true. Like, that's fine.
Well,
You're allowed to have that
framing
opinion. You can be honest about it.
You're framing it in a disingenuous and
I'm really
bullshit
not.
manner.
I'm actually
So
not. I'm
going
being
to
clear about what we know and
conform
don't know.
to the
It's
bullshit
possible that
way
those.
you're
It's
framing
possible that those 270 or those 26, they actually are all the individuals who are breaking into the Capitol. They're all the people who are attacking cops. What I'm saying is you don't have that evidence. You haven't provided that evidence.
Could be
I'm
6
saying
million,
that
could be
the
over
current
9,000.
FBI is giving you that evidence, and you're dismissing it because it
Wasn't that
doesn't
the little dog
comport
whistle
to your
there from
narrative.
Alan?
So if it's
We talked about
26 or
Israel earlier, too.
275,
But
I
what
gotta
you
show
guys,
Israel
what
too.
you need to do though, like Steve, is like then bring up things like the article where they went and investigated every domestic terrorist group and found out like 26 out of 29 of them were headed by one of the 3-letter agencies and mostly populated by the 3-letter agencies. That those kind of things, I bring up those type of proofs to back up what you're saying.
Fucking buddy from the Proud Boys, Tariq or whatever his name was. He was an FBI informant going back to 2012. They found out that the Oath Keepers guy was an FBI informant going back to fucking 2003. They found out that the 3%er guy was an FBI informant going back to like 2015. If it's all the FBI doing this and encouraging this behavior, and then random fucking schmucks get caught up into their bullshit and do it, who's ultimately responsible? This is a very, very good question. As far
Those
as
people are still responsible for their actions, obviously.
Does the rhetoric? Hang on. Let me ask the question. Does the rhetoric and directive from the top have any bearing on responsibility for what the rank and file do, regardless of whether or not they're also FBI agents?
So I guess to kind of address that, like, we can look at the top-down allegations about the election being stolen that Trump was feeding to his base over and over and over for months, lying to them directly. We can look at that and say that Trump is responsible for that rhetoric. And then we can also say that even if the people thought they were justified when they were storming the Capitol, trying and successfully delaying certification of the election, we can say that they were also responsible for doing that. Even if they thought they were justified, they were still committing crimes. They were still breaking the law, even if they thought it was the right thing to do, which ultimately they were wrong. And some of them still believe it was wrong, or some of them still believe it was right. Some of them have come around and realized that Trump was misleading them. And yeah, it's hit or miss, unfortunately. But
okay,
most of them have
so
been
what
pardoned,
you're
so.
saying is it doesn't matter what actually happened. The
Not at all
only
what I
thing
said.
that
That's
mattered
literally
was
the
the
opposite.
rhetoric leading up to it that you want to pin on one individual. That, by the way,
I literally said they're responsible for their
wound
actions.
up
What do you
being
mean one
convicted.
individual? Why you do this?
Because that's what you did. You said Trump, 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 Trump. Let me ask you a question. Who won the 2020 election?
Joe Biden.
Okay. Who was
Sleepy
president
Joe.
for the ensuing 4 years?
Sleepy Joe.
So
All right.
we
So
understand
what the
Steve has
fuck are
different
you even
perspectives than
really
Ryan.
ultimately talking about? Like, your argument is contingent on overthrow and insurrection when what
didn't say
in
overthrow.
reality happened was everybody was already in the Rayburn building. Nobody actually had to fucking have a heroin
Because they left the
escape
Capitol
through
after
the
it was
tunnel
after it was
under the
breached.
fucking Capitol, because when anybody got in the room, what they found was a cop shot a dude, and he's sitting there bleeding out in front of fucking Nancy Pelosi's speaker podium, and another fucking neck-bearded retard was like, "I'm the podium king." Like, the whole thing was a farce, my dude. It was a again.
I mean, Trump attracts a lot of crazy motherfuckers. Yeah, I agree.
Sure. So
I don't agree
Joe
it was a farce. I agree that Trump
Politics.
attracts a bunch of crazy
let's,
motherfuckers.
Let's put a realistic perspective on it. Politics attracts crazy motherfuckers, because you can't tell me that a fucking 630-pound danger-haired nose ring fucking weirdo screaming about men are actually women is sane human being. You like, they're all retards.
Are you
They
talking
all-
about somebody specific here? I mean, I believe in like trans
Sure,
rights.
yeah,
and
I
I believe
can
trans
pull
women
up
are
clip.
women and stuff.
I
Like,
can pull up thousands of clip. It's politics
you are
brings
entitled
out
to
the
your own beliefs.
derangement in people. It's
Okay.
a vessel.
You are
for-
entitled to believe that January 6th.
Let's
Is it-
maybe not
is
get
an
into the
insurrection.
tranny debate.
Yeah.
please, yeah, and these are the slurs too, and I don't like that. But I mean, whatever. It's
Oh,
your
I'm
channel,
sorry. I
guess,
talk
but I'm
like
also
a
screaming out of
grown
mine.
adult who grew up in the 90s.
Okay.
It's a different
I just-
generation, different
Yeah.
language.
That is true. We're from the Mel Brooks era where you just say
Yeah.
offensive shit about
Yeah, no,
everybody.
that's fair.
including
I'm
yourself.
just saying I don't fuck with that.
But let's
I'm sorry
go.
if words offend you.
I'm
offended
fine with
by the
having
actions that the government takes
a
on us
tranny debate at some point in time, and whether they're real or whatever the fuck.
I'm
But let's keep this
not sure
one
I'll
on
engage in
this
that one with you
track.
guys, but I hear you.
I mean, we're already completely all over the fucking place. Let's try and just keep it January 6th.
Yeah, good luck.
1,500 hours of footage.
Yeah, of people
regarding
beating up police and
January
breaking into the
6th.
Capitol. Yeah, we have tons of footage of that. True.
When
Okay, so
that
let me
footage
ask Ryan.
was released,
Ryan,
the determination by media across the political spectrum was these are agents of the federal government
Who's
who
saying that?
are not only inciting but enabling and encouraging more violence. This is a fact.
You're saying the
was
media,
a
the media site said
governmental
that? What media?
operation.
What media is saying what you just said?
The
Well-
confidential human sources were the source of violence, according to Steve. Ryan has not
Reuters.
come around.
He
to
hasn't.
is currently
Reuters said that
saying
those 26 people incited the violence.
Okay, Ryan,
can you post that?
274, not 26.
He posted
Ryan.
a Reuters article that you're
Lose
citing.
your fucking bullshit loser talking
Sorry, the
point.
276 number just came out like a few days ago, so I haven't like fully explored all that. I don't
That's
know.
what we were
Okay,
saying.
so
the whole
it's
fucking
pretty-
time.
It
was
did say
rewritten.
September, Steve. It came out this month, so he's
That's
not.
fair. It's new information.
So it's literally like 4 days ago. I've been sick. I've been sick these past 4 days. Look, I'm
important-
learning. If you have,
It's
if
not my fault.
I'm
You
not
didn't
even sure
show up
that
prepared,
that
dude.
new report from DOJ actually supports what you're saying, but maybe it does. I'd be interested to see it. I wish you would have brought actually posted that at some point and showed me the specific quotes that show evidence
It is
of that.
posted in the side, Ryan. I did
The studio
glance
shot.
through it. That's what I was reading off of. So he did post it on
Well,
the side.
to be fair, you posted a Yahoo article about it, but do we have the actual report?
Yeah. Yahoo article about that article.
Does
definitely
it
was a
have to
human
come from
centipede.
Mother Jones
Yeah.
before you'll believe it?
I was just asking about the specific DOJ report. Like, calm down.
No, I mean, I'm asking. Like, I don't
Fair
know.
question. The sources do matter. Understood. Got that. The importance of the event January 6th and how it will be recorded in history books for civic students in public high schools to learn about. Well, there was a Pearl Harbor, there was a 9/11 event 2001 in New York City, and then there was a January 6th event. How will January 6th be remembered is an important conversation to continue having. As we're seeing the number 226 or 275, that's still kind of up for debate. The ink hasn't dried on it yet. We're still close to the event. We're still fighting for a narrative control here. Ryan, what do you want the outcome of the historical record to read for January 6th?
So first of all, I just want to 275. Like I agree. I don't know everything about it yet. I want to reiterate that. But my understanding, based on what I've heard about this, is that these are people who showed up after the riots started, not people who were in the crowds before. If that is information that is, if I've gotten misinformation regarding that, then I'd be happy to see the truth of the matter. I don't think that the I know the Yahoo article cites a Blaze article. I don't even know if that actually says that they were in the crowd beforehand, but I'd be interested to see that specific line if it does. But as for how I want this to be remembered in history, I want people to know that Donald Trump lied about the outcome of the 2020 election over and over for months. And for, in fact, almost a year before the events, he was saying that it was going to be rigged. He was talking about mail-in ballots and encouraging his base not to use mail-in ballots, which supported his narrative whenever the events actually happened, where he was like, wow, look at all these mail-in ballots that came in for Joe Biden. And it's like, well, yeah, you told all your fucking people not to vote. Like, you told all your people not to vote by mail-in ballots. So, of course, that was going to happen. Even Bernie Sanders pointed out this was going to happen in interviews before this. I want all of that to be remembered. I want it to be remembered that although once in Trump's speech he said he did say peacefully protest, he also said fight like hell. Like I think 4 times he said fight. He also said you won't have a country anymore. And then he repeatedly for months said that the election was stolen, despite everyone around him who was his as president. He had some of the best information available regarding the topic, and they were telling him, no, these narratives are not true, and he just repeated them anyway. He told his base anyway. And so these people went to the Capitol, most of them probably believing what Trump was saying because they were in his MAGA cult, and they believed the things that he says, and they thought that their election had been stolen, and they were trying to fight like hell because they thought they weren't going to have a country anymore. So they stormed the Capitol, they fought with the cops, and they tried to delay, if not stop, the transfer of power because they believed that their country was being stolen from them. And I want that to be remembered in history. I want that to be what's taught in the history books, not the plot against the king, as our current FBI director, Kash Patel, wrote in his picture book for children.
So let me ask you, do you know how many people showed up at the Ellipse or, a mile and a half away from the Capitol for the actual Stop the Steal rally? Do you know?
I don't know an exact number. What's the relevancy?
Guess. Just give me your best guess.
I have no idea. I'm not gonna. Yeah, just get to your point. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so do you know how many people were inside the Capitol building?
I believe it was probably a couple hundred or something. I don't know.
Okay, so it was, according to DOJ and FBI, like 135 people.
Okay.
And there were upwards of 200,000 people down the road. Have you ever been to Washington, D.C., Ryan?
I've driven through, but I haven't actually been to the
You
Capitol,
haven't been
so.
there, though? Can you imagine how long it would... Wait, let me first...
Have you been?
What is your...
Are we? I felt like what I just did was like something close to a close. Are we getting like the closing statements or something, or is this like, are we wrapping up sooner? Are we going for hours more? I don't know.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Just curious.
What do you think? What in your head does the average MAGA supporter look like? Let me ask you that. What do you think a MAGA supporter looks like?
Real quick, thank you, Nuxus, for the $2.99. But I don't know. They're like a white person, I guess. Like the average is probably a white person.
How are they shaped? What do they weigh?
I don't know. They're probably like, I mean, like the average. It's such a broad thing. Like, are they very, very in shape people? I think MAGA is a very diverse group of people, to be honest.
Are they all gym bros that are going to take almost a 2-mile uphill hike in 14 minutes?
No, a lot of them are not going to be that.
Because
a lot of them were old people.
According to the timeline, when the quote unquote insurrection happened, the vast majority of everybody,
I think MAGA
was the crowd, was still at least a mile away on an extreme 42-degree uphill towards the Capitol.
Thank you
I
so
have
much.
personally
You are the one true
stood there multiple times. I can tell you in extreme detail how long and arduous of a walk it is to go from the Ellipse at the Monument to the Capitol building. It takes a freaking minute. Where the quote-unquote insurrection took place, there were people that had been specifically placed there that had nothing to do with the Stop the Steal rally. And I want to tell you, I have never heard a more boring, or dumb freaking speech than I did from Rudy Giuliani, who went on stage right before Donald Trump. Okay? Because again, I have a bird's eye view of this. You don't. What I saw was tens of thousands of people gathered in one spot that could not have been able to make their way.
Wait, don't I kind of have a
uphill.
bird's eye view because I've there's like a million camera angles and like
No,
tons of
man,
footage
no.
that we all have access
Okay,
to
are
and
you
I've
looking
seen a lot
at?
of.
Okay, let me ask you. Do you know Ford Fisher? News to share.
No.
Ford Fisher is a dude who lives in Washington, D.C. or D.C. area who just shows up at events in D.C. and films them. And then he dumps everything that he shot onto the internet. And you can draw your own conclusions from it. He doesn't apply a narrative to it. He has no stake in the game. He's just there to film it. Ford Fisher, Fischer, news, the number 2, news to share. Go look at Ford
Do you have an
Fisher's
affiliate link?
footage of it because it's just raw, nonpartisan. I'm on the ground filming this because it's crazy. Go look at that. And there's no narration. There's no this guy's doing this guy's
We
doing
can
that.
watch together. Play some footage.
It's
Let's watch it.
it's his camera's view of what's happening. I think that it might help you draw different conclusions.
Okay, I will consider it. Thank you.
I see
All
a lot
right,
of
so
violent footage.
we're about 10-2. So we're gonna go ahead and move into closing statements, and then anybody that wants any questions read, go ahead and throw them in there. Ryan, absolutely feel free to read your super chat out. I heard you starting to try to do that, but then there was other talking, so you didn't really get it out. So absolutely feel free to do that after. But for at the moment, go ahead and go into your closing statements.
Steve, you want to go first?
Oh, sure. So if you're looking at January 6th through a partisan lens, regardless of whether you fall on the left or the right, you're going to have all of the talking points that come from your preconceived ideology going into it. That makes you a sucker. What January 6th was an operation that we now and have had for years and years and years, extensive information to support that this was a specific operation within elements of the government in order to move the country into the place that we are currently. Post January 6th, we have seen a massive lockdown of what you're allowed to say on social media. We've seen massive introduction of federal authorities into our everyday lives. This is a setup in order to push us into what the United Nations calls the Agenda 2030, where everybody is on a digital ID, where everyone is monitored in real time all the time. In the ensuing years, we've seen things like automatic license plate readers crop up everywhere. We've seen things like the push for a digital ID in order to log on to the internet in all of the Five Eyes countries. If you're not familiar with the Five Eyes countries, it's the people that are formally, and this is by their own admission, former UK colonies. So you've got the United Kingdom, the United States, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. All of these countries have pushed more and more draconian, invasive measures to control what you say, what you do, where you go, how you go there. And there is zero aspects of partisanship outside of rhetoric that exist within the January 6th PSYOP. If you believe that this was just Donald Trump or just MAGA, you are a fool who is bought into a false left-right binary that only exists for marketing purposes and to further remove your rights and liberties. If we are a constitutional representative republic, we haven't had an example of that in the 21st century.
Okay.
Ryan?
So what we heard a lot from Steve tonight is don't believe your lying eyes, buy into his particular narrative of American history. The only real arguments about January 6th that have come up, very sparingly, have been what I believe are lies about the nature of the undercover agents who were there, and allegations that they were the only people engaging in violence, never once substantiated with evidence. Those 26 people, yes, they were informants at some point in time. There's nothing mapping or linking them to being the specific people involved in violence at all. And also the 275, once again, I believe those are people who showed up after the riots had started. So the reality that has not been disputed at all in any meaningful way all throughout the 2 hours, the 2 exhaustive hours that we've had here, were that Donald Trump said the election was going to be stolen. Then he said the election was stolen. Then he tweeted numerous times announcing the events of January 6th. He organized a list of, or a series of 7 fake electors who lied, saying that the states had selected them to be the electors of their states, which they had not done. And then he wanted to use them to pressure Mike Pence to delay the certification until future court rulings could settle and basically overturn the election, ideally in his favor. And then when Mike Pence refused to do this, he told his crowd that they had to fight like hell or they wouldn't have a country anymore, and they believed him. So they assembled and intimidated through violence and or threat of violence to interfere with a government procedure, being the certification of the election, which easily qualifies the legal definition of an insurrection. And then Trump pardoned all those people because Donald Trump believes that if you do violence on his behalf, then that is okay. And if you even are anti-fascist, which Donald Trump is a fascist, so if you are against Donald Trump in any meaningful way, then you are a domestic terrorist. And we should all be terrified because even Steve here has spoken out against Trump. So your free speech is definitely under threat from Donald Trump because you have said terrible things about him. And a few years ago, he actually was the only one who explicitly reached out to Twitter and pressured them to take down a tweet from Chrissy Teigen, who called him a pussy-ass bitch, because as we all know here, Donald Trump is a pussy-ass bitch. But yeah, January 6th was an insurrection, obviously.
Thank you, Rachel Maddow with shittier facial hair. Thank you. But, like, dude, you just lied through all of that. You did. It was all lies. Like, even
let Marcus get his in. Let Marcus get his in, Steve.
So Steve and Ryan answered all of my questions that I asked them. I learned a lot more and have a lot of notes to do further research. It seems like the ink hasn't settled on this history. There's still healthy debate, I believe, happening about the significance of the event. There's some agreements. I think there were more agreements than disagreements. The disagreements had to do with the proof. And I think that in this culture where there will never be sufficient evidence for either side to determine a concrete conclusion either way for even a third party to understand it, it's meant to be confusing. The political theater continues.
Oh man.
It continues as political theater with left and right going back to the ballots to continue to vote. And I don't know that a Democratic elected president is going to return civil liberties, is going to say, you can't delete your tweets. We have to print them out on paper. I'm very frustrated by having important historical information being on the internet where it's on Twitter, it's on True Social, it's on social media, it's on TikTok, all these important things where now when we're faced with having to dig it up really quickly, an AI summary gives us a summary, which seems to be a consensus reality opinion based off of Wikipedia articles. So I think the real argument happens on the Wikipedia forum where we decide what is history and what is true. And anyone who writes a book about it, I don't know if Kash Patel's book is cited in any Wikipedia articles as to the true maritime story time, a bedtime story of the January 6th insurrection. I think that's a big word that we're still struggling to come to terms with. Donald J. Trump having a disgraced legacy. I think that's the purpose of that. We can all say Orange Man is bad. We all agree with that. I don't know what the solution is. Maybe I'll continue to watch Ryan and he'll provide a radical left lunatic fringe solution that will create a utopian world where I can accept bribes into my digital bank account, my CBDC, and whatever that is.
Before we
I don't know
get
where to
out
go
of
from
here,
So we're getting out of here yet,
real quick, because I was
and I can get to talk once too, Steve.
Just hang on, hang on. Let me tell you how hard it was to get a fucking hotel room or an Airbnb right before January 6th, because I was there for different events on the 2nd and 3rd. And on the 4th, when we were like, fuck it, it's going to be a shit show, we'll pull up for it, and we changed flights and stuff like that. We tried to extend our lodgings because I look like me.
Bro, Steve had a hard time getting a hotel room. That's what we're talking about now.
To every Airbnb host in the entire greater DC area that said, if you see somebody who's trying to rent from you, who looks like they may be a part of the Stop the Steal event, do not accept their offer. And so because I look like me, we had to go. I had 3 different reservations canceled. Again, I don't care about Donald Trump in that way, for sure. I care about Donald Trump because he's a fucking tool of the oligarchy, and he's been weaponized against absolutely everyone to take every shred of our liberty and freedom away. He's a piece of shit, carnival barker, reality TV star, WWE Hall of Famer, fucking clown. But there was ahead of time from Airbnb a directive that said, don't rent to anybody who looks like they might be part of this
Good
event.
point, Glitchin.
So if that doesn't at least give you an inkling of how pre-planned January 6th was, fuck, dude, you are living a fantasy life.
And in my second closing statement, I will agree. It was a plan. It was a detailed plan to overturn the election through pressuring Mike Pence to.
Yeah, because that worked out.
It didn't. I mean, they successfully delayed it. But anyway, you guys said you have questions. My super chats were really brief. It was just one of them is Nuxus saying anyone can't hit the goal, because I had a single donation goal, and Nuxus is often the one who is achieving my goals. And then he posted another one during the second goal. So that's all I have to
Hail
report.
Nuxus, you are a superstar.
W Nuxus.
You know what? My tongue is slightly swollen up because I'm drinking hot chocolate, and I had a thing with my tongue which was swelling it this week. So now anything that I'm drinking that's hot makes it swell up again. So then I sound like I have a lisp.
Big ups to everybody that super chatted Ryan tonight. You guys are absolute heroes. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Keep
Thank
that
all
up.
of you. Thank you,
Absolutely.
all of you, Nuxus.
Thank you for coming in, Ryan. Most of the questions are just pretty much smart ass stuff.
I can take it. If there's any you actually want to read out, like I don't mind.
Nothing in particular. Tony did say that we need to definitely clip Steve stating that Nancy Pelosi was 100% right, and that needs to find its way airing out. But throughout the debate, as far as I'm concerned with the January 6th, I'm more in line with Steve. I think if he could have if Steve could learn to be more succinct and land his plane at some point in time, he would have done. This would have went out a little bit smoother.
State the destination before setting off on the plane, so we know where we're going.
I think that, and to this day, especially with hindsight, that 20 million number is a mathematical anomaly that is insane, which I do understand what Ryan's saying, that they definitely drummed up the Trump hate, but then all of a sudden it disappeared. In my opinion, and being a little bit older, the most contentious election I recall was when Obama came in after Bush. The world really hated Republicans at the time, really hated Republicans, and Obama was accepted as like this damn near Jesus figure. So that to me was probably the biggest election.
I rolled over his fur and like,
from traveling a lot.
He always sleeps by my fucking chair.
Like
I was trying to push him away from it. Yeah, I pinched him a little bit. Now he's getting mad and shaking it away.
There was definitely some Trump stuff. Hillary Clinton, during that campaign, I was moving from South Dakota to California and going back and forth. I saw one lady with a bumper sticker get in her car, and she was like, some people should have just followed her around with a video camera waiting for her to do something crazy, Karen. And that was the only person. Everybody hated Hillary. Actually, Bernie that year had the most out of any yard paraphernalia sticker.
2008.
Yeah,
which
the Democrats always been the gatekeepers of that. If you look up, Ryan, this isn't the first time that's
I'll look
happened.
at. Can I quick read? I got another super chat from Glitchin123. Says all in caps.
All
hail democracy, God, Mike Pence, and based in true. But sorry, go. I can look up. What am I looking up?
We don't live in a democracy. We're supposed to live in a representative republic.
How are those representatives selected?
Republic. Anybody who pushes forward the idea of democracy
in a back room smoking cigars, shadow government.
In the 60s, this has happened before, where there was actually riots, and it was actually held. The Democrats were the one rioting, and it was against the DNC because the DNC wanted to put in Hubert Humphrey III, who was a little rich boy. And I'll read your question in 1 second, Uncle Fatty. And he was from a wealthy donor class, and the people had wanted
save him,
George McGovern, and so they forced through Hubert Humphrey, and then there was a giant riot. So this is actually something that this cycle has kind of happened before from somebody that's old. Okay, question from Uncle Fatty. Steve, were you at the J6 Pride in the Park speeches in the riot at the Capitol building?
So, okay. In the morning of January 6th, I was right by the ellipse.
That's so real, polygraph.
There was like a whole like human cattle guardrail thing leading up to where people were standing for all of the speeches. I was off to the side of it for all of it. We were trying to live stream, and we couldn't because we were being signal jammed for the entire time. It was really frustrating, and it sucked. Then when Rudy Giuliani got done speaking, before Trump came on, we got in a car. We went to our Airbnb for like 15 minutes, smoked a little bit of weed, and then went to the Capitol, where I was on, again, the two sides of the Capitol, the side where all the scaffolding and the people climbing up and all that shit that faces the Supreme Court. We were on the side that faces the Washington Monument. So as far as that goes, I was on the back side of the Capitol. But yes, I was on the steps of it while people were going in and out. I was in the midst of what people would probably describe as chaos. I would describe it as kiddie play because nobody was doing anything really out of pocket. Jail. But yeah, dude. Yeah. In fact, if you want to,
so go look up
an interview with January 6, 2021, Unfit Statesman. That's the show that I did that night from our Airbnb in DC. And I talked about fucking all of it. So go find Zach Brown, the Unfit Statesman. I did a full interview that day.
Zach, Z-A-C-K?
Z-A-C-H.
Z-A-C-H Brown, B-R-O-W-N.
Zach Brown.
Unfit Statesman.
Oh,
got it.
Marcus and I have another friend named Project Cheney, and she was there. and up close, and she talks about that the police funneled that most people were actually just wanting to be looky-loos, and the police made a funnel that forced people into the area. So according to her, not nearly as many people wanted to be in and looking like they were part of the active problem, and they instead wanted to, just be looky-loos.
The only way out of DC was through the Capitol building at this point because everyone was corralled in and pushed through.
You'd have to have,
you could get around DC on side streets and stuff like that.
Defenses set up, she said,
right.
And then the cops
stop
pushed
the
and
steal
didn't let
rally.
anybody get behind them.
Right. So something happened. There was already crazy event. Steve is telling us that there was build up to it. I think Ryan has agreed that there was build up to the event. The event happened, and it was the most boring event ever. Some people, it was an insurrection. To other people, it was just a pressure release valve.
Yeah, and to answer Uncle Patty's second question, there were no Biden flags. It was a Trump rally.
Yeah.
I wouldn't expect there to be any Biden flags at a Trump rally. I was wearing a prisoner jumpsuit and a fucking Guy Fawkes mask for the whole thing.
A costume party for some people.
Are we doing Collins as well?
Julian Assange's name on my back
What'd
as
you say,
my
Ryan?
prisoner shirt.
Are we doing Collins as well? Like, should I post in my?
You can go ahead and we can do a little bit of call-ins to ask questions and grill whoever. That's
Jim
fine.
just joined. I don't know who this is, but
Jim's a personal friend of ours.
oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, I posted the link in case.
Hello.
But
It's not a tree. It's not a troll.
Yeah, no, he's not here to grill anybody. He wants to talk about financial stuff that he had looked up and discovered. Like there might be a spike in the silver market because there's a battery that they figured out that's supposed to recharge like extraordinarily fast. Like, and it's
80% charge.
There's a ton of silver used in it, so that would obviously correlate into a spike. Nothing
Fair
to
enough.
do with what
I will let you guys do that. That does sound actually pretty interesting. So I will.
Thank you for coming in, Ryan. I'm wishing it went a little bit better.
Going okay.
Just kind of, you guys were kind of past each other. Part of that is Steve's got a breadth of knowledge that's crazy, but he needs to be succinct in his speaking.
If you don't understand what happened before,
I understand what you're saying.
What happened
you got to
now.
figure out how to do it succinctly, brother. Because you're only usually in a debate. You get 2 or 3 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes.
First
There's
round.
no way to
fight
fucking
in
back
that
up.
time.
Sure. So I guess
no way to
Let's meet 12 months from
Thank
now.
you very much for coming on, Ryan.
We'll do it again.
Everybody, check out Radical Coders channel. Thank you for coming in, Ryan. You have a good night.
Just one more thing. Like I am Ryan Radical Coder. If you guys hated everything I said or enjoyed some of what I said or enjoyed everything I said, I highly recommend you come subscribe. We recently hit 1K and we're going straight to 1 million. Very excited, very fun. I've been doing debates like these for years, and I love doing this and I want to keep doing it. So please come support the channel and come fight with me.
What are your socials?
YouTube.com/@RadicalCoder is the best way to find me. And there's a lot of other links there. I mean, I'm on Twitter as The Radical Coder, Instagram, The Radical Coder, but YouTube is the primary source. So that's where I would recommend
good
people check
experience
me
on
out.
Blue Sky at all? Are you trying Threads? Anything else?
I mean, I post on Threads a little bit. It's more like personal social media, I guess. But I post on there sometimes. But yeah, primarily YouTube and occasionally X,
YouTube's
but
the big one.
not a lot.
I think we're in agreement that YouTube is the place to stay, with your opinion, Steve's opinion. We're trying to get everybody back to YouTube to have the conversation because YouTube is the #1 video platform that everyone goes to.
It's your mainstream media platform.
Yep.
True that. All right, guys. Well, thanks for having me. If you don't mind, throw my link, my YouTube channel link in the chat. I appreciate it, and I'll do the same for you guys.
Oh, absolutely.
Appreciate it. Have a good stream.
Mark,
Thank
throw
you,
that
Ryan.
in there. We appreciate you.
Umbreon, I'm crying too, dude. Fuck. I feel like I just realized how bad I feel. I'm so sick. Why am I need Tylenol. I need some more Tylenol. I shouldn't have drank that beer also. I should not drink beer when I'm sick. That's a bad idea. I'm so sweaty, dude. How's my chat doing? How you guys doing? Did you guys like the stream? And did you like the stream? Bong and Stuff says we're doing God's work. Yes, sir. Yes, we are. Man, just I feel like there's like, don't eat the autism. It's just so weird. Like there's just no arguing with the actual points, like, at all, right? Am I crazy? Doing better than you, it would seem. Yeah, probably. I feel nasty, dude. Hopefully you're not pregnant. Not that I know of, but, you know, could be a little coder in the chamber. Who knows? Man. Umbreon, I get it, dude. I feel you. Yeah, I'm going to sleep after this. You have COVID, Ryan? I hope not. I believe there is still like a lot of COVID going around, right? Like I think we're like still technically in a pandemic, even though Trump is like Trump's DHS has like completely that's the right thing, right? HHS? I don't know. Has completely removed any information about that. Coder, how do you feel about bullying a mentally disabled people? Listen, it could be worse. I think I could be a lot meaner. Zeke 1000 says, honestly, you are always the logical voice amongst a brood of buffoons. Well, I appreciate that. That's debating conspiracy people for you. Yeah, they are all liking and subscribing, right, everyone? I hope so. I hope so. We are all crazy to someone else. That's true, Nuxus. That is true. Important to remember. You never got the virus? I don't think I have COVID. I've had COVID. And I don't... I mean, it was kind of similar to this, to be honest. Like, whatever I have right now, it could be a variant of COVID. Like, it's been a couple of years since I had it. I wouldn't be that shocked if this turned out to be some strain of COVID. But it's pretty rough. Like, I felt pretty nasty. Pretty nasty. Not nearly as bad as I felt the past like time. Well, like I think the second time I had COVID was the worst. Ryan, have you met any gravity deniers? Not to my knowledge. I don't even know how I would. I feel like that's outside of my... Like, I like political conspiracy stuff a little bit more than, like, physics conspiracy. Just because I don't have, like, a really good physics background, you know? If you're crazy to crazy people, you're on the right track. That might be true. Nice, healthy, and balanced immune system, NTC. True. Umbreon. Umbreon says, stream's over, bitch. He might be right. I gotta chug all this Tylenol. You guys see this autism-causing agent? Did you watch the General's meeting with Hegseth and POTUS? Not yet. I've been sleeping. I've been, like, straight sleeping the past couple days. It happened today, right? Or was it yesterday? I will let you know, Ancom. Again, it's like a little bit out of my realm of interest. I like those are like, even when I like would watch like modern day debate a lot, like I would just skip out in the flat earth stuff completely, or like moon landing stuff. I know we had a little bit of that like last week on a panel. But I just find that like very uninteresting, to be honest. Uncle Fatty says, good work, dude. Arguing with those people will never change their worldview. It's like playing cards with my brother's kids, aggravating sons of bitches. Sure. Yeah, I mean, like, just to clarify, like, why I like to do a debate like that one, it really is like to stress test my understanding of the events of January 6th. And to be honest, I expected like a harder push on some of my understanding of the narratives, but instead a lot of it was like kind of ad hom against like, oh well, you're just lying about you don't even know, you weren't even there, you know. It's like, well, okay. Like, other people who were there disagree with you. I mean, like, this is just my understanding of the facts. If you present new information, then I might change my position on certain things. This is the time, you know, it seemed like they really didn't know that much about the timeline. Like, they were talking about how, like, Trump tweeted. Yeah, they don't know the basics of their own conspiracy theory. That was kind of depressing. At least, like, Steve didn't. Time to stock up on TP because of the continued COVID. Yeah, I mean, I think it's still like pretty prevalent, to be honest. It was just Steve's Storytime Corner. Bro was like, listen, we got to go back 200 years. Listen, Ryan, you won't understand that January 6th was not an insurrection until we go back 200 years, and we talk about, and then we go back 30 years, talk about 1999, and we got to talk about George Bush and how 9/11 happened, and then we can talk about why it wasn't actually an insurrection. I'm like, okay, dude, okay. After you blazed, I wish I was gonna do that. Send me money for drugs. Maybe I will. The stories weren't even entertaining. I agree. You're being such a little shit right now. He's like biting my fingers. Okay, listen. I love you guys. Who's live? Who's streaming? Who do you guys want to go see? Content live. I'm not seeing. I think Kel was streaming. Let me see though. Oh, there's a bunch of people streaming. Okay. Let's see. Kyla's streaming. We got Not So Erudite. We got the Soy Pill. He was debating Andrew Wilson. He might still be. Kel has a big drama stream going on. Those are your three main choices. So I'm leaning towards what do you guys think? Damn it, Ryan, see my chat? Wait, hang on, let me switch to live chat. What's your chat? Government shutdown in 40 minutes? Oh, government shutdown's about to happen? Yeah. Government shutdown in 40 minutes, yeah. Maybe we'll stream tomorrow and talk a bit about that. If I'm feeling better. I've been wanting to stream the past couple of days. I've just been like completely fucking destroyed. Like my body's just been like beating me up. Soy Pill. Let me see if that debate's still going on, or because Soy Pill might be like shutting down soon. Let's see. He's not even there. He's literally gone. He's literally chair maxing right now. There's no way he's gonna keep going much longer. I think Soy Pill's about to wrap up. Yeah, they're shutting down the government. They are. What's Kyla talking about? That's look. I have my beefs with Kyla, but there's a lot of her audience that I kind of want to absorb. So let's see. Oh my gosh, she's talking to the inferior Ryan.
From everyone. I think that it's the best thing about America.
Wait, where's my...
Frankly.
Was that I would like to see bipartisan support for an organization like FIRE.
Talking to the worst Ryan. Oh, boo-hoo, Embryo, where? Michelle says, bruh. That's fair. Neo-Evangelist John says, I'm interested in Ryan's take. Oh, Trib, but that's 5 gets for Not So Erudite, not for me. Embarrassing. Neo-Evangelist says, I'm interested in Ryan's take on a liberal news outlet telling us left-wing terrorism is on the rise. I mean, it's just true. It is just, like, actually true. Like, left-wing terrorism is on the rise. But comparative, like, you've seen those charts, right? Where it shows, like, all the gray bars, like, showing, like, massive amounts of right-wing terrorism over the past few years. Like over the past decades, and then like this year, we're starting to see a little bit more tick up in left wing, which is not surprising, especially in a right wing authoritarianism crackdown or authoritarian crackdown. Like I'm not really that shocked. Doesn't mean it's good. I don't think it's I think it's actually like when people do those things, they are actually hurting us and making Trump stronger. But did they coordinate their outfits? They are wearing the same red. I hate to do it to you, but I'm doing that. I'm sending you guys to Kyla. Tell her learning is radical. Make her acknowledge it. If she doesn't acknowledge it, then go somewhere else, okay? That's your mission for the night. If Kyla does not acknowledge... Wait, where'd it go? Did she end stream?
For delete like that.
No. Okay. Why can't I find it now? What the hell happened? It stopped showing up as an option for me. Okay, I guess for some reason I can't raid over there, so looks like you guys are going to Kel. Oh no, there it is. Okay, never mind. Sorry, Kel. I found it. Yeah, you guys are going to Kyla. Yeah. Teller learning is radical. Even if you, I know, I don't know how you guys feel about Kyla. I know we have mixed. Yeah, I'm gonna make some. I think I have some like lemongrass tea and stuff. That's crazy glitching, but I didn't send you to say that, okay? I didn't send you to say that. I don't agree with that analysis. Look, I'm critical of Kyla, but that's not. I don't like the Ghislaine Maxwell memes. I don't agree with that. Yes, I'm gonna have some tea. I love you guys. Thank you. I will try to stream again tomorrow when I'm feeling a little better. Hopefully, I'm feeling a little better. I'm gonna make some tea right now. Sorry to poor Umbreon who's been suffering. Thank you all for sticking around and enjoying that. Why do they match? To torture us. Okay, thank you guys. I'll see you tomorrow, I'm sure. So, thank you for all the love and support. Don't get the one with lemon. Don't do the one with lemon. I was just told lemon. Now I'm told not lemon. Please. Throat coat for the throat coat. Maroon day. Oh, I'm being mean. Okay.